are federally illegal, wrongly so, I think. So, without further ado, well, I'm sure you guys just came in. I'm gonna play the intro for you guys while I call Luxie. Okay, so we're gonna get started here in a moment. Oh, was it too quiet? All right, fine. Hi, Luxie.
Oh, hello.
Howdly doodly.
Howdly doodly.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I don't know. I was just super stoked. Well, I only asked for 30 minutes of your time, and you were like, well, we're just going to talk till the cataclysm happens, so.
That's my brand.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk till the world ends, probably. She was like, let me teach you how to talk until you literally can't talk anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't even need that lesson, but now you have improved upon my already vast skill. Thank you so much.
Now you can land the plane, right? Isn't that like the metaphor or whatever?
Lay on the plane?
No, land the plane. It's like because I do this too, where I talk and talk and talk, but like the subject stays here, but it never like comes back down to like the end of the conversation.
Oh yeah. I can. Well, if it's on Disney terms, I can land the plane. I'm getting them out of there. I'm like, thank you so much. Good fucking bye. See you later. Thanks so much. It's been great.
Well, that's got to be like a huge part of like how you kind of became. I mean, a huge part of like a developmental stage in your life, right? Like you were forced into doing and interacting with like all these strangers. So.
Oh yeah, it was probably like the weirdest because like you don't know. I never met a character until I became a Disney character, like at all. So I was like, it was one of those things where I grew up, I'm from Florida. I grew up going to Walt Disney World. And it was one of those things where when I got the job, I had never met a Disney princess before. So when they were like, here you go, here's your job. I was like, well, I don't even fucking know what they do. Just stand there, maybe like I wave. And then they put me through training and they're like, here's how you do it. Here's the formula. And I was like, oh, okay. We have to like say hello, you tell them a tiny story, you take a picture with them, and then you're like a guided goodbye, like you literally walk them away.
Okay, so yeah. could I like simulate this with you, I guess?
Oh, 1,000%.
All right, so
I won't do it in the accent, but I could talk to you like a guest, probably.
No, so like, yeah, let's do the formula. So it's like, okay. Oh hi, I'm here to take a picture.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. The craziest thing just happened. Today, I opened a bottle of wine, but when I went to open the bottle of wine, there was no cork in it whatsoever. Anyways, I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's look over here for a photo. It was so great to meet you. I hope you have an amazing day. Goodbye. And then you're literally gone.
Wonderful.
No choice. But I think that's the formula, but I never did it because I think like a child getting to like talk to you and interact with you, like that's what they wait in line for. Right. And like the most important part to me was like getting to talk to children and like getting to make them like, I'm really good at knowing what children want. That sounds like a super weird thing to say, but like I can look at a kid and be like, I know why you're uncomfortable, or like I know why you're sad. I just like, maybe it's because I act like a toddler, but no, I really understand why they're upset.
It's the same thing for me. Like there's a immediate empathy and like an understanding of just the difference, and like you treat them like a human being that's just smaller and more delicate, right? Because they're in the process of becoming an adult. So
yeah, you're just like, why? People look at them and they're like, I don't know why they're crying, and I'm like, they're probably fucking overwhelmed, Jerry.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm wearing a baby
wig the size of Kansas, so I don't know. Maybe they're just a little nervous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's like
and parents are so mean. They're just like, just go take a picture, hurry up. I'm like, could we maybe let the little person breathe for a second and just like, I don't know, touch my wig and you not yell at it to take a photo for 5 seconds? Maybe, right. I don't know.
You guys see May in the background looking at the computer?
Oh, hello. Did you want to be part of the show? She's like really peering. Hello.
Yeah, she's like, who is this man with the mustache?
Who is that stranger?
Hello,
you're
stranger.
Now my best friend and get out. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Disney motto, basically. They're like, we want you to feel so important, but please leave.
Well, I know a lot of people are in here from your channel, but do you want to do like a brief introduction for anybody who may not know you?
Oh yeah, hello, what's up? My name is Luxie. LuxieGames on the internet. I variety stream on Twitch. I'm a former Disney princess. I play some random instruments. I own 2 dogs. I make a lot of really bad jokes on Twitter. That's pretty much the
good
summary.
Ass jokes. Everybody loves your jokes.
Thanks for liking my jokes. If you like my jokes, I actually don't know her. Hi, nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. Yeah.
Alf, welcome in. Oh yeah, by the way too, for anybody who like has any questions, if we're swept up in conversation, which will happen, you can hit !Q and then type your note or question that you have, and if we see it in the moment, like, I trust you, Luxie, so if you want to address anything right then and there,
I'm gonna find the most controversial thing and just bring it right up.
Sure.
Bring it right up. The most uncomfortable thing for you possible. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you.
Well, I'm down. Like, here's the thing about the conversation is, like, it can literally go anywhere, and if you want to go there, like, that's fine. Hi, May. Oh, she's so worried. Hi. That's a concerned face.
No, this is I want to sit on your lap.
Oh,
face.
Is it?
Yeah,
she's so cute. I say it all the time in your chat, but I would love to just lay on the floor and play with May.
She would love to let you. Hi,
yeah.
Come on. You want to come up? You can do the interview with me. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. There you go. She's 65 pounds and definitely does not fit up here, but here she is.
Well, I remember like seeing you. I know it sounds weird, but like I saw I think it was a video or a photo. You were talking about like how, I mean, you had her since she was a little puppy and you used to take her in the bath with her. Yeah. And I was like so jealous. Because I was like, I wish I had a dog really I grew up with.
That I had to take down because the internet was outraged by it.
Yeah. What was it, that, or was it you eating Chipotle in the tub? Was
both. Anytime I do anything whatsoever in the tub, like, people get really upset by it. And at first, like, when that first post went around, and people were like being mean to me about like taking a bath with my dog. First of all, when I adopted May, she wasn't like the adoptable age. They told me I think 8 weeks is like an acceptable age to adopt a dog. That's what they told me. And she ended up being 4 weeks old, which is obscenely small. She had like really bad separation anxiety. And I just wanted to make her like, I adopted Jane like 7 years ago. And I wanted to make sure that May was not scared of all the things that Jane is scared of as a rescue.
Mm-hmm.
From an older age. Okay, do you want to get down? I don't know what you want. And so I like would bring her into the bath with me because she was too small to bathe alone. And so she was just a puppy. I would just like hold her in the bath water with me. I take like real showers. These are just baths to get my dog like used to water. And normally like I just take like stress baths. Like, I'm just like, time to just get in the bathtub and just melt away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I posted that photo and people were just really mad. They were like, this is disgusting, that you're going to get an infection in your vagina. And I was like, what are these? I don't understand if people just like don't understand how vaginas work, or they don't understand how being in any type of body of water works. That like, it baffled me. Anyways, I took it down. But then last time, I took a photo of me eating. My other dog wants to say hi. Hi. I ate Chipotle in my bathtub and people got really mad at me again. People just they really think that it's like a weird thing where people always say I'm being super white. It's like a really white thing to do.
No, it's not.
Like, I don't understand where it comes from, but that's fine.
Well, it's just it's like the internet, right? So like you post something and you do post it to the world, so they like find a thing to align it with, and then they force a perception on you. And I don't know, like one of the things that one of the big things that I really admire about like your channel and how you carry yourself is the sort of, it's not even like the not giving a fuck attitude. Like, that's a really generic way to say it. You just handle yourself really well under the stress, even though I know you like break down and like fucking cry in places. Yeah. And like, that's fine. But like, you're transparent about it, and you talk with Bean about this stuff. You talk with your parents. Like, you have a wonderful support system and you utilize it. And it's not just like this facade that LuxieGames is like a confident person. It's like, you are confident because of the support system you have, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think, we talked about it earlier today because I have never gotten to play games with my girlfriend before because she doesn't have like gaming consoles.
Before Stardew Valley?
before, yeah, we've never played. We played Fortnite together, and that's like about it.
Oh, that's amazing. So this is your first time, like.
Yeah, we've been playing it. We've played like twice, like in our own personal time. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna stream if you just want to like get on Discord and we'll just play Stardew together. But because of like we were able to get her a Switch, like that happened. But we were talking about how I love you so much. Maybe not the Switch play right this very second. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, she's looking. She's like, I'll murder you. That like I'm like, you see like the best of people on the internet, and it's like important to remind yourself that sometimes the nice streamer that you think is so great and in a wonderful relationship that actually got a really bad temper.
Sure, yeah.
that her loved ones have to deal with off of stream.
Well, it's the same thing with me. Like, like when I first started streaming, I refused to play first-person shooters on stream.
Oh, did it make you grumpy?
Oh yeah. Well, like I have the way I explain it is like the way I grew up is, and especially like on my mom's side of the family, like aggression and anger is really easy to come by. So is stubbornness. And so like that's a really powerful tool in my like emotional cards, I guess. And I try not to use it as much, but when I am, I'm a toxic bitch.
Yeah. Oh no, I 1000% feel that.
Yeah.
I love you. Wait, I'm just gonna quickly whisk you away.
Yeah, totally fine.
Let's go.
Oh, she's so cute. Dude. May is so cute. 10 out of 10 would lay on the floor. Sober or drunk. Or while drinking.
My toddler's fine.
Oh, totally fine. No worries. No worries at all.
Okay, hello. Nobody's abused.
Nobody's abused.
Nobody's abused. Yeah, we were just talking about how we literally had a conversation today about how like I express myself like I'm a very like I have a quick temper and she's a very emotional person. So we're like, those are just things that we have to deal with as human beings. You're dealt a certain amount of cards.
Well, you it's important to know those too. Like one of the things
that's very true, and not just like be like blatantly like no, I'm not angry.
Yeah, because that's like that's how I would consider our families. Like I don't know if your family's like this, but they swim in that shit the whole time. They don't even realize they're doing it. You know what I mean?
No, I think that my family's pretty self-aware. Well, okay. I think growing up, hi dad, if you're watching, my dad was very angry, which is definitely where I get it from. But like there was a point in my life where my mom was like, we're all going to therapy. But he wins. So I think that's amazing.
Helpful. Yeah, I can't.
Therapy.
That's we had this conversation when we first talked. Is just go to therapy. In summation,
everybody go to therapy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't even get my parents to do it because they're like, everything's fine. We've been married for 30 years. I'm like, you think you know everything, but you don't, and it's okay. It's okay, Mom. And she's like, I know everything. All right, don't you fuck with me.
I mean, I know her parents aren't listening, but Bean's mom is definitely like really like that. She's one of those people that I deeply think would benefit from therapy, but like refuses to go. Like thinks that she knows everything and is too good for therapy. And it's like that's like the hardest thing for me to get my head around because I don't know, especially because I know she's a religious person. At one point, do you realize that like you aren't thou holiest person in human being and that we can all improve? Like we can all be better. Even if you think you're healthy, you can still go to therapy.
But that's what religion is, though, isn't it? That's like true. It's an understanding that you are less than God or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, so that's why
I don't know. Well, I agree. I think it's
practicing the sanest of religions over there. So
sure, yeah.
Just like one of those things where I think people get really in their mindset of whatever they're doing is right, and it's not that they're using like. I don't know. I think that you use the things around you to develop yourself into a better human being. But I think some people, instead of doing that, they use the things around themselves to justify the things that they're doing. Instead of justifying like bettering themselves, they justify like getting stuck in a rut.
Oh, you're talking about like the actions of
like of certain people. Like I know for a fact that like things I've gone through, instead of like being like, well, this made me an angry person. Like, yeah, it did. But like the next things that I've gone through have made me like realize I'm this person and like develop out and try to get closer to realizing I am that person instead of just being like, absolutely not. And the reason I can do this is because of that.
Exactly. Because of therapy.
Yeah, because of therapy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of control, quote unquote, is just knowing your negative and positive behaviors or whatever and like what causes them. And we talk about it on the show a lot, but like a lot of people are quick to call like asshole, right? They're like, fuck you, you're an asshole, you're a dumb bitch, you deserved this, you deserve that. It's like, there's ingredients to this like whole person thing, and you're just judging it at face value with no fucking idea who this person is or what they've been through. And it's like, they probably need help. First of all, they need help. And then second of all, maybe that help is like getting in trouble. There could be a spectrum to that,
Yeah, there's like one of the hardest things that I think that anybody will ever go through is the worst thing, especially if you're an angry person, because it's near impossible, I think, to come out of your like seeing red zone. But like the best thing that you can ever do in a conversation or in a moment is just put yourself in the other person's shoes and just be like, why are they acting like this? Like it's so helpful, like as a human being to grow. Like I know that like this person's actions are this, like for instance, like I know that my dad was an angry person growing up because he had a horrible life. He had a terrible childhood. So like he just has like a lot of unresolved issues. So like being able to look at that instead of just being like, my dad was an angry person and I'm mad at him, and instead put yourself in his shoes and be like, he went through so much stuff. Like being able to do that with your friends and your family and your partners, or even like people on the internet. It's so important. A lot of people, when that person made a joke about me eating Chipotle in my bathtub, she was like, this is the whitest thing I've ever seen. And she works for like a pretty influential gaming company. And a lot of people are really quick to comment on her post and be like, well, would this company like what you're saying? And I literally had to like DM these people and be like, I know you don't mean poorly, but this is not only a female in the gaming industry, but also a Black female in the gaming industry. And like, we could all step back from this moment and be like, her life is hard enough. You don't need to try to get this African-American woman fired for her job for making like a dumb joke on Twitter. Like that's a little excessive. But like that is such an important thing to learn and apply, but it's definitely, I don't know, especially with the witch hunt mentality, I think in our day and age, it's really
I like that phrase you use, like the putting yourself in another person's shoes. And there's a phrase that I like try to live by as best as I can when I do encounter it. And a lot of it came to me when I was working in retail, which is very needed, especially at the place I was working at. And the phrase is, you are me living a different life. So the idea is that if I went through the same situations, the same family upbringing, regardless of race, color, religion, whatever, I would be the same exact person. You know what I mean? And so like that person I was interacting with that was pissed off and mad at me wasn't really mad at me. That 15, 20, 30 minutes that I was with them, there was all these things that happened prior to that. And all I just need to be is like, be there in that moment and understand that I would be the same way. You are exactly who I am,
Yeah, I think it's just it's so hard. I think especially when you're mad, and especially with the facelessness of social media, it's so easy to just be like, no.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it a little bit when we first talked. It's like you give all these people who haven't had therapy. Who haven't had therapy. I would say that's a good way to say it. They haven't had therapy. They haven't done a lot of self-reflection. You give them a window into the world, and they will yell and scream and fight.
Well, because and then you tell them that like what they say is like the most important thing, basically. You know what I mean?
Through likes and
like,
retweets.
Twitter is just like putting you on a pedestal where you're like, well, I'm the most. I think we all we all are born into our own solo documentary lifestyle movie.
100%.
Hey, this is my world. And then you are given like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram where you're like, well, this just further proves my point. Everybody's solely here to look at me. And you just like justify people's like crazy notions without being like, well, wait a minute. It's just like a constant anger battle.
Yeah, I feel like it could be
therapy-less anger battle.
Yes. No mitigation, no like thought process. It's just response.
Nobody in between to be like, shut the fuck up.
Right. Yeah. Maybe we should come back in next session. Like that doesn't happen, Like
yeah, there's nobody to say like maybe you're feeling this way because of this.
Right.
No, they're just like, your dog is the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and your mom smells of elderberries. And you're like, oh my God, everybody sit down.
Yeah, please. Oh man, yeah.
Take a nap.
I think I'll see you later, Alf. Yeah, make sure you're following Luxie too. If you guys want her stuff, ! Luxie in the chat, and you get her Twitch and Twitter.
Empathy, try it today. I wish you could sell in like BioShock Infinite type bottles.
That's what I was thinking about it exactly like that.
It swirls around your hand and like a bird lands on it and you're like half Snow White and you're like, oh, a little empathy, try today.
But I think that's honestly I think do you think it's a lot of like tribal mentality as well? Like I think
1,000%. It's like the hunt mentality. Like you're like, it's like what's it called? Like what do people do after sports games? You know, when they destroy a whole town.
You're talking about riots, yeah.
Like mob mentality. Like you're like, here we are, and we're all excited, and you start. It's like, you know how some people don't really realize that like when you're near another person, you're like feeding off of their energy. Like I know that's like a lot of people are like, that's hippie dippy mumbo jump. No, you're not.
It for sure is a thing.
Somebody that's mad, you're getting their mad energy waves, and you're like, oh, this kind of feels bad. Like I feel bad. But when you're around a lot of people that either they're feeling really good or they're feeling really bad, you're swept away in this like giant mob mentality moment. And I think that happens in small waves of like adrenaline through people in the internet, especially Twitter.
Well, I think it's I know it sounds weird, but I don't have any backing for this. I'm not a fucking expert or a scientist or whatever, but I have listened to a lot of podcasts and I've done a lot of reading about like just how we became human beings, and a lot of it, like the tribalism that existed, the 150-ish people that we were like a part of, the reason why that's so quick to catch fire, especially on social media, is because people don't recognize their own behaviors or thought processes. They immediately trust the people that they're interacting with or the feelings that they have because of the invested interest and time that they put in for like Twitch streamers and all that stuff. And they just ride that wave because, you know, if my tribe is right, it means I don't need to even pay attention to anything else. And it's everything. It's like not even just Twitch, it's fucking politics, it's
sports
everything.
And art, it's anything. That it's like the hive mind mentality. You're in it to win it, and everybody, and it's hard to also, it's another thing where you have to put yourself in other people's shoes because you're like, well, that person thinks a lot like me, but they may think a lot like you, but they're not you, and at any moment they could differ from you and make a totally different decision from you. So it's hard, and dangerous to be like, yeah, I agree with everything you say, basically. Even in like a lifelong relationship, like there's things like that you can just like stumble upon and be like, oh, well, no, I don't feel you on that. But you're like going along with them, and then you're like, wait. What?
I have a small story about that. I was dating a girl for about like 2.5 years, and that's a long time, right? And I was on this like point where I was like, I don't think I love this person, but I don't know why. So I'm like dating this person.
What is that?
Yeah, there's just there's something there that's like not actually coming forward, and I feel like it's loose or whatever. Something's not right. So somebody got promoted at work, and then I get this phone call from what seems to be a crazy person talking about how they want to like axe murder people and shit. And I was like trying to calm her down and all this stuff, and then I hang up. And I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, that was probably it, huh? And then like a few days later, she sits me down and I'm like, okay, we're going to break up. And then she tells me, I shit you not, she looks straight into my fucking eyes and she goes, what you experienced was a ghost that possesses me, that has been following me my whole life. And it takes me in my most vulnerable state and causes me to be very angry. And I said, okay.
That's called anger issues.
Maybe you should go to therapy.
You consider it an exorcism, maybe?
Well, I knew her life story, and it was not an easy upbringing for her with like her mom and all that stuff.
She's like compartmentalizing some like
100%, like
in her ghost body.
And I'm not a therapist, you know. I can't be like. Do you think?
It's horrible to laugh at this.
But it's absurd, right?
His brain packing up like all this trauma and being like, you know what? We could give her a little ghost. Like we could put all this in a tiny angry ghost. Have you thought about? Yeah, why not? Fuck it. She's a ghost now.
She's a ghost now. Yeah, so that story, I've never in my entire life had anybody tell me anything remotely close to that.
For her, but I love this.
I just hope she got therapy is what I hope happened. I really do, because like it was bad.
The idea of the brain being like, oh fuck, they're gonna figure out that the ghost isn't real. We gotta throw it away.
Right.
the therapist is like, you gotta throw the ghost away.
Well, the worst thing about like the whole story too was she had, when I was asking her like, because I can't just sit there and listen, so I have to ask clarifying questions. I'm like a analytical dude, so
right.
You're yeah, like, I'm like, okay, so can you tell me a little bit more about this ghost? Like, does it have a name?
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
I know, it's that's why I'm not laughing. I lived and experienced this shit, and you're hearing it for the first time, right?
Ghost.
Yeah. So I was just like, what's this? Like, what is there a name to it? Like, what? How did you find this out? And the worst part about this is her family enabled it. So they took her to like a psychiatrist, or not a psychiatrist, a psychic, a fucking psychic. The psychic was like, yes, you have this ghost person following you around.
How old was she when she thought how old was she first when she thought she had a ghost in her body?
Probably like 12 or something like that. And she was like 26.
Right. So they were like, let's take this impressionable child and make her think she's got a ghost inside
100%. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I talked about it the other day. Actually, maybe was it with you? I don't know if it was with you, but I talked about it with somebody, how like terrifying. No, I talked about it. So my girlfriend Bean was telling me that she knows a girl who refuses to drive over like 4 RPMs in her car. Like she thinks that if she drives over that speed limit or like her car reaches past that, her car will explode. Basically, like she's terrified of that. And it just led me into this thought process that like children they can teach you. Like parents can teach you these things and you grow up thinking this crazy shit and then you're fucked. Like as an adult, your friends are yelling at you to drive 60 on the highway and you're like, absolutely not. Pop told me I can't go over 4 RPMs. And then like you're fucked, but that person now has a ghost inside themselves.
Right.
Like, you have to think about, well, you know what it was we were talking about? I think it was probably my like my gay conversation. Like people, like parents feed you information and then
pop rocks.
They enforce it. You put the pop rocks in your mouth and snap, crackle, pop. You're a ghosty dumbass.
Yes. No, you're not awful. You're not.
Specifically for this ghost conversation.
No, not at all. It was honestly surreal. I was just like blown away, and I couldn't be like, I don't know. What I wanted to do was say, you know, like, hey, do you think possibly like, and I'm not a therapist, right?
Did you
Is this ghost? When we broke up, it was a really bad breakup. Like,
I can only imagine that the ghost came out of you.
She keyed my car. She keyed symbols into my fucking roommate's car at the time, into the front bumper, because I had a garage. So like
ghosts like ghosts.
I don't fucking know. It was not normal is what I would say. I wasn't like I'm just gonna scratch.
I feel like I need to take a lap. Like that's a lot of it.
It's a lot. Okay. And so like, you know, I was pretty much at my wit's end with this person, and I had to like
she carved like a Satan symbol into your car.
Not even into my car though. I had like one key line. You know,
but
that
the Satan symbols were in your roommate's car.
My roommate's car, because she called him to like verify information or some shit, and he didn't like answer anything because, you know, I told him the ghost story. Yeah, of course, probably. I don't know about it.
I told him the ghost story. He was like, I'm not answering the phone for that.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, yeah, exactly.
She's got a ghost inside her little brain.
Exactly. So
I like to imagine it's a Luigi's Mansion style.
Oh yeah.
That's her brain putting the ghost in. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
God damn it. Yeah, it was.
So what happened?
The ending conversation was like at an extreme boiling point, and I was like, do you think quite possibly that this ghost is a manifestation of your childhood trauma that you possibly had with your mom? And she goes, whoa, like she never heard it before in her life.
Literally bitch slapped her with knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was like, that was like one of the last things I said to her before. I was like, I know you did this shit. I have friends who told me I'm not going to do anything about it because you are fucking sick. Go get some help. And then I left.
Therapy. You're like holding a wine glass and you're just like, therapy.
Yeah, therapy.
Maybe if you say it 3 times, it'll summon it.
Yeah, right, dude.
A therapist appears, like the progressive woman, and she's just like, hello.
Yeah. Dude, if only it worked that way. Do you know how much healthier our society would be if you could...
Yeah, and less broke, probably.
100%. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was nuts. Oh, dude. Yeah, but I think like I
was trying to remember if I'd had any crazy breakups like that. I don't think I have. Mostly, oh, that's horrible. Mostly I break up with people and then they fly to another country and I never have to see them again.
That's really lucky, actually.
Oh yeah, but probably really fucked up for me mentally.
Abandonment issues?
Therapy. I like to keep people
therapy.
distance. Wow, it sounds dope in your mug. Yeah, I actually, my very first like big relationship was developed on a website, so I'm a true millennial. That's how you know. On Star Wars Galaxies Online, the like first role play game, like MMORPG I ever played.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is. If he wasn't a weirdo, it would have been dope.
Sure.
But I was 12 and he was 15 when we met, and so there was like an age gap, but it wasn't crazy. But it was when I look back at it now, I'm like.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I'll let you continue.
I'll just hold that with my little ghost and come back to that one. Yeah, so we like, I was like, he was from England and I was 12, so I was like dreamy. We used to talk on MSN Messenger. We became friends. I had no idea what he was doing. He was a Wookiee in the game that we played. Yada yada.
Hot.
We so hot. Actually physically hot because we
physically warm.
And we dated, and then, well, we didn't date till I was 18, and he came to visit me and we started dating. He asked me out while trying to have anal sex with me. That's not a fucking joke. Joke.
That's good opener.
What a phrase there.
I probably not should have said opener, bro.
Words you've done there, Konky.
Oh no.
Up my ass.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
That man, Serby, what I said is he tried to ask me out to be his girlfriend while attempting to have anal sex with me. You're welcome. That was literally what happened. And so I said no, and then made him ask me out at an appropriate time, because what the goddamn fuck is that? And whatever. He proposed to me when I was like 18. I was 18 and I had said absolutely not, I don't want to get engaged, and then proposed to me in a public place. And my female, okay, maybe, I don't know. I think that it is one of those things where you don't ever want to disappoint anybody and you want to make everybody around you feel like so loved and cared for, where I was just like, I have to say yes to this person. I can't do this in public and say no. So I said yes, and then I was like, I can't. Nope. He used to do this thing where he would like pick at his skin and then eat it. You don't realize those things when you start to date people on the internet, because when you date them in real life and then you figure out that they're picking at their skin.
Gotta go. Bye.
Basically, a long story short, he flew over here. I broke up with him immediately because he said, if you ever break up with me, you have to do it in person. So I was like, fucking fine.
I broke out in a sweat when you said that shit. Like, I physically like went from being okay to I am now fucking sweating, imagining like a real thing.
Your chat that says therapy now. Just a man.
I'll make a command. It's fine.
So I broke up with, he flew here. I broke up with him. He extended his flight. He was staying with me. Extended his flight to leave later, and then didn't tell me, and then was like, well, I'm not leaving today. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I extended my stay a week. And I said, no, leave my house. You're not staying here. Go to therapy instead, maybe. And he left. I took, like, the last day, I was like, I'll take you to the airport, fine, because he was staying with one of my friends and they kicked him out too because he's a nasty son of a gun. So I took him to the airport, basically dropped him off, wrote him a letter, never heard from him again, basically. Until recently, like a year or a year and a half ago, his girlfriend, who looks, first of all, he's older than me. I'm 26, so he's probably near 30 now. And his girlfriend is freshly 18, looks just like I did when I was her age, and is like messaging me like some nonsense. Like that's a, therapy. Go
to therapy. Goddamn.
Go to therapy. Please, guy, go to therapy.
Oh God.
And she's like messaging me. She was like, don't ever message my boyfriend again. Don't ever do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, first of all, I don't talk to your fucking boyfriend. I hate that man. Have you seen him pick his scalp?
Yeah, you were like immediately. Did you see him eat his own skin?
He spent $75 on my engagement ring, and I'm not trying to be stingy or anything, but I seen that man spend more on a, so I'm a little confused here. And she started saying like some weird shit. She was like, did he do this to you? Has he done this to you? Like sexual stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? She was like really mad and she was like angry. And I remember when I was in that relationship that I felt crazy. I felt psychotic. Like he made me feel like he's like one of those people that'll talk circles around you and you feel like you, no matter what you say or do, you're absolutely wrong. And he's right about everything.
Gotcha.
And super manipulative. And I was just like, I messaged her back and I was like, listen, I have dated this man. I know that you are probably not in the best headspace. I want you to know I don't want nothing to do with your boyfriend. I'm sorry that you're going through this. If he has hurt you, please let me know. I would love to speak to him or call the police for you. Like, just let me know what's up. I am here if you want to talk. Have a great life. And just was like, here's some kindness that I think you could take it. I think you need it.
I mean, you were there, right? So like you saw.
Oh, yeah. In my brain, everybody was like, this is psycho. Like her messages are crazy. And I was like, I have been this girl. Like I have been in this moment where I'm like, message, you know, like I've been in that moment where you're like, I'm going to be a crazy person and message some girls that I think that he's doing shit with.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just wanted to be like, oh, I've been here, bud. I've been here, and I think it's best if you get out of it. And she did. I just want to take a quick moment and say a nice, gentle universe prayer that she got out of that relationship. God bless your little cotton socks, because I don't think that's a good place to be.
Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely one of the weirdest things, because I remember he like called me after I spoke to her, like, and he lives in England, so it was probably like a weird message, and was like, I want to talk to you. And I talked to him and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean, what do I do? And I'm like, what are you doing dating an 18-year-old girl that looks just like me? You know what I mean? What's going on here, bud? You're being weird.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And what are these messages I'm getting? And
did you go to therapy?
Stop.
Yeah.
Don't date her. And she like had moved in with him, and I was just like watching from an ocean away in terror, like clutching a wine glass, just like,
oh God.
Oh God. Free her. Yeah. I mean, it's got nothing on the witch symbols on your roommate's car, but
yeah, what the fuck? But anyway. I pray that person got help as well.
No,
to the universe, please.
The boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
I hope they both. Everybody who is in those weird positions, please go get help in some way, shape, or form.
Exclamation point therapy.
She might reach out again. Who knows? You know what I mean?
They're still dating. Bless her heart. No, it's a new girl. He's dating a new girl. She also looks like me. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Let's just Bean. Let's roll. Let's keep going. You've stalked. Look at that in all caps. Totally busted.
Oh yeah, no, I have. Well, all my friends still follow him, and they'll be like, "Oh, here's what's happening now."
Yeah, but it's got to be interesting, because you've probably told this story to how many fucking, I don't know, how many times, right? And to your friends who trust you.
I think he's probably the only person that I will open, and I hope to God he can hear it, because I just want to be like, get some help. But yeah, he's one of those people that I will like openly talk about on the internet and be like, I had a bad time, guys. I would like to talk to you about it. Well, because I've been engaged twice, which is always a shocker to people.
Okay.
Because I'm like,
well, being engaged, but you're not being married and going through the whole process of that, right? So
I like to pat myself on the back for that one.
You did great. You're fucking doing great.
Well, I think getting engaged to him was definitely a mistake. Getting engaged the second time was also
yeah, but like you were in a public scenario, so the first one, like I would say you were engaged twice, but the first one was really just like you had to kind of.
Yeah, the first one was a write-off for, I would say, manipulation, and then the second one was just me being like a very gay 19-year-old girl, and being like, well, you know, why not? Let's go.
Why not? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get engaged and stay engaged for like a really long time and then cut it off, because I don't think I'm gonna get married, but maybe we should just get engaged for a long time. I've got cold feet. I can't.
Well, I mean, it's not even you have cold feet. It was you're fucking 19. Your prefrontal cortex didn't even develop. Jesus.
Oh no, my parents didn't. Well, she's a great person. We're like really good friends. She's married now. My parents didn't like her, and like it was just a whole mess. And it was like in the midst of my parents accepting me being gay. The whole thing was like, imagine just putting like every human problem possible, and you're like becoming an adult and you don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life, and neither does she. And like also you're trying to put marriage in the middle of it, and you also have a bunch of parental issues, and you're just like oh, we could solve this with maybe a little marriage. And you're both like, okay.
Well, everything's already a mess, and like the marriage is somehow a glue that makes the mess like not a mess at all.
You know when people have babies to save their relationships?
It's never a good idea.
No. No, it was like that equivalent, except much less permanent.
Okay.
Really the opposite of permanent. Because
I'm actually like really curious. I'm really curious about it too, because like a lot of the stuff, and this is honestly like selfishly my own thing, because most of my experience with like any sort of LGBTQ plus community is through friends and stuff, but like I don't have, like all my good friends that I met online that are part of that community are they don't live here. I met them online.
Right.
And so like over the course of my time streaming, I got more acquainted with myself, first of all, and also got to know people and their scenarios and stuff. And you talked openly, like I was really happy to be there during that stream.
Yeah,
like
it was just like not planned
at all.
Too.
And I loved it. Like I loved hearing all of it, because it really, I don't know, it's not even like, it explaining those experiences for, especially as somebody who's straight, like, and I say this, I've said this before, like I am in no way coming out of the like straight game. If I could choose, it'd be cool if I could be like bi, because I would love to love every human being, but I can't. I'm not wired like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wish you could like go into your brain and be like, well, all right.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah,
I'm
like
bi now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I mean that'd be
boop, and I turned my bi button on.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Like the whole like Elon Musk Neuralink thing is probably like a programmable thing.
Elon Musk like cuts open your head and he's you're gay now. You're welcome.
The smooch.
And then he runs off and he rockets into fucking space.
Oh my god. That's great. Yeah, well, I just a little side tangent. That whole like Neuralink thing, they did a presentation on it, and like it sounded outlandish at first, and then he brought like people from the company actually came out and explained like the manufacturing process and how it is, and just for you to look into later, because I don't want to take too much away from like what you're about to talk about, but essentially it is non-invasive, so much so that it's more like LASIK, and the surgery can be done in like, it's surgery, but it happens in less than 2 hours in the recovery periods.
I don't know anything about Neuralink, and I feel like I'm about to be hit with like a deep-seated like.
Do you want me to tell you like a?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a brief summary of LASIK. If you were Elon Musk and you had a 60-second presentation to give on it, the Neuralink, give it to me. Yeah.
So basically, what they've made is it's a small microchip that they would implant into someone's brain, and they're starting with people who have neurological disorders and people who are paraplegic. The idea is that they want this to launch before 2020. And in current, like, they already do these implants to help people who are paraplegic, but the problem is they're so large that they cause brain hemorrhaging or blood, because the technology is bigger than the blood vessels that are inside your brain.
Right.
So they developed a robot, a microchip set, and electrodes that are smaller, 10,000 times smaller than traditional neuroscience tech. Yeah. And the idea is that the wires go all the way down here. You have this pod that wirelessly links up to this chipset, and then you can learn and perform motor functions digitally without using your hands if you needed to, or you could operate your physical body parts again. Using this technology. It's amazing. Now
need to sip on that wine for that.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. I when he first came out, I will say, like, watching the YouTube video when Elon first came out and started talking about it, it sounded like complete nonsense until everybody started coming in from the company and explaining how plausible it was, because they had like neuroscientists, manufacturers, people explaining like how the technology worked.
Yeah,
and
because essentially Elon's just like a really brilliant millionaire, and he doesn't he just like is like, here's an idea, I'm gonna put money on it. Right.
Yeah, so I think he's like that.
Yeah, well, I have family that works for NASA, and he's there like all the time. And
oh yeah, very cool.
And they're like, he's a strange cookie.
He's a trip.
He's a really strange cookie, and we don't want him in NASA anymore.
Yeah. Yes, please leave.
Excuse me, Mr. Musk, you're making us feel a little uncomfortable.
Right.
If you would stop chef's kissing inside their brains, it would make us all feel a little bit better.
Oh my god. Yeah, but that whole thing was nuts. So like one of the trippiest things in there was they were talking about software updates. for the technology and how they occur through like a mobile phone or something, right? And so they had a list of skills in the mock-up of the application, and one was like mouse, computer, keyboard, so that you can use them without using your appendages. And I was like, okay, that's one step. And then I was thinking about the Matrix, where like, you know, I know kung fu.
In your head and you're just like,
you're like,
your
I know kung fu.
Like...
Yeah, yeah. And then fucking Elon walks in. He's like, show me.
Elon walks into your brain,
yeah.
and all the Tesla doors fly open, and they start playing Christmas carols.
Right, Christmas carols, and he's like, "You think that's air you're breathing now?" I'm like, "Is this the Matrix? What are you doing?" He's like, "Yes, it is. I wanted to do this since I started my company." But back to wanting to be able to choose how you sexually choose things.
Like, really fucked up with like weird brain ghosts.
Brain ghosts. Oh my god.
First brain ghost, now Elon mess.
Dude, I broke a sweat on the eating the skin thing, and it's only gotten worse because I'm laughing so much. I've been
sweaty since I started insulting the poor girl with trauma issues with the ghost inside her noodle.
That was bad. But okay, so we got onto this topic for anybody just coming in. We got on this topic because I was talking about how if it was a choice, sexuality was like a choice. I'm wired strictly like towards females. If I could choose, I would choose to be bi because it's like you love humanity and stuff. And then we got into like the neural link and being able to download a software update and be like, well, I'm bi now, you know, like, so there's that.
Especially with the phone link,
right?
Like pulling up an app and being like, I'm gonna just slide the scale a little further this way.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, but I don't have that experience. It's not perceivable to me. And I'm also a white male too, so like all my
you've got it all going for you.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But
especially like maybe as a white male, but I think males in general, everybody's like, it's so great to be a man, which like you have like so many benefits. It's true. You guys are you can kick the world's ass, but also like at the same time, the ass is just like the world is like kicking your ass back. Like, yeah, maybe you can run it, but don't fucking cry. How dare you? Like, maybe you can run the world, but I refuse to let you have any feelings.
Right.
So like, I don't know. People are like, it's so great. But I was like, I don't want to be a man. I love to cry. Crying's amazing.
Yeah. Why? The sad thing about all of that is it is true, especially in like
it's horrible.
A Greek house. Like I grew up in a Greek household, and similar to your dad, my mom had a terrible upbringing, and so like her behaviors are from her environment, and how she learned how to handle emotions was from her parents who were not very good. So that went into me, and like, I mean, I'm obviously turned over a new leaf, and I've gotten to know myself better. I went to therapy, and therapy. And I mean, through all of that, like, I'm still like, the first time I cried publicly was last year. And it was when I was surrounded by my friends at TwitchCon, because I got to meet them for the first time after playing games with them online for like a couple years. And so I was allowed for the first time in my life to just be accepted for who I was. And I know you can empathize with that for sure. And I'm surrounded by all these people, and they appreciate me. And then I just started fucking crying. And I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever participated in my entire life. And I want to thank you guys
so much.
You know, like it's just, it's amazing. Like these people, you think they don't know you, but like the way I would equate Twitch, and I'm sure you would agree with this, is you watch these people and you invest this time in there, and it's a podcast and it's one way, right? But it's really unique when you have a community that you also participate in and watch as well. So you guys may not be interacting like you and me are interacting right now, but if you had been watching me and I had been watching you, we know each other, but we never physically made contact, right? Once that happens, it's like, dude, validation for like, I've met an amazing person. You are physically here. Yeah. I can see below your waist, like you're walking around. It's amazing.
Pants today.
Yeah.
There's like a realness to it that you never got before.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people are like worried about the internet replacing relationships and all that shit. I'm like, honestly, it's just the bridge, and then the physicality of it like needs to be there because that's what grounds everything for you. You know?
Yeah, even like the thing we were talking. I love you. that like thing we were talking about earlier, where when you're around people, you feel like their empathy, like that being around a human being. I think that, I mean, not yet is it replaceable by technology, but
Yeah.
I'm sure in the future Elon will work on that for us.
Oh, sure. We'll just hook it up there. But yeah, so I mean, I would love to hear, like, for anybody who hasn't heard too, like, what was that like for you? Because you're from the South, you're still living in Florida, you know, so it's like, what was that like for you? And I mean, what would you consider, I guess, like the cornerstones, the things you remember the most out of all of that?
Yeah. I think also I would like to say, like, even the way you explain it, like not being able to understand like my circumstances and like being gay, like every single person who comes out or being like gay versus lesbian versus bi versus pan versus trans, like they're all such like unique and different experiences. Like we can relate because you're like, you have that same like sort of like fucked up trauma relationship that you get with other people. Like you like meet someone, you're like, oh, you went to therapy for the same thing as me, sort of thing.
But that's what we can bond. I know, like, the whole this is a separate tangent, but we can, you know, go up in arms for bullshit, but like, God forbid we bond over the traumatic shit we went through, you know what I mean? So I think that's a really big thing. And honestly, that was, I know it sounds weird, but like the attraction for the LGBTQ community and like my friends who weren't allowed to be themselves were encouraging me to be myself. And that was a beautiful thing, you know? So
they're the like people in the LGBT community are the people that have been like yelled at or been like the outcast there's so many different types of outcasts, but a pretty large variety of shunned by your family. So like, I think because they go through so much, they're either very much so standoffish and angry, or they're very much so like, everybody's my family. And if you need family, I'm your family. Because we've all been in that point of our life where I know I went through it, where I was like, well, fuck it. If my family's not going to accept me, I'm just going to go find another family. If you don't want to be nice to me, I will make my own family. But I came out, I very vividly remember writing in my journal. I remember specifically my first fiance, who did have redeemable qualities. I'm sure he has a nice person deep down inside, but he was like, hey, do you think you're like gay? It's like some type of gay. And I was like, oh, is that why I keep writing about girls in my journal? That makes a lot of sense now. So I wrote, I remember like writing down, I was a very stereotypically gay, a theater tech in my high school, and I was like a sophomore. And I remember writing down, it was probably, as a Southern girl, like the first time I'd ever really interacted with what I would describe as like a butch lesbian. And like in my head, I was like, oh, I have, like, just quietly, and in my journal, in my head, I just remember being like, oh, I have feelings for this human being. And I probably was on the sidelines of the fucking theater show that she was performing in, just like, like her, and staring at you. And her friend like came up to me and was like, do you like that girl? And I was like, I mean, yeah, she's nice. And he's like, no, do you like that girl? And I was like, oh, this is it? Yeah, yes, I do. And he was like, okay, cool, because she likes you. Do you want to date? And I was like, yes. And he was like, all right, I'll go tell her. And then I was dating a girl, and that's how it happened. And there was like, I know for a lot of people, I think it's like a deep internal struggle to be like, I'm gay. And I think that that's probably one of the harder things that you ever go through, but I've always very much so, and I think it comes through very much so in my social media and my personality, where I'm just like, fuck it, you know, like this is what's happening, and it's who I am, and if you don't like it, that's tough begonias, bad news begonias for you. So through that like aspect, I never really had to deal with it. It was much more so like dealing with like my family and that fallout. So I started dating her, and my parents like eventually found out, because I did that stupid thing where you invite somebody over and you have sex and then basically say that you're having a sleepover. And my mom the next day, somebody saw me holding hands with her in public and was like, hey, I saw your daughter holding hands with a girl, which wouldn't probably be normal if she didn't have like short hair and 2 lip rings. And my mom like looked her up on MySpace, and I was like her number 1. And she like brought me home and was like, is that girl a gay? Is she a lesbian? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know that girl. Never seen her before in my life. I don't know if she's gay. And yeah, eventually she got it out of me. My mom I was really thankful, because the first thing my mom ever said to me was like, if this is your life, you need to think about it, because it's not going to be easy. Like, this is going to be a really hard thing that you go through. And like in that moment, I was like, well, this is nice. And then she was like, but you have to tell your dad. And I was like, not so nice what you're doing there. My dad is not. At this point in my life, my dad is not understanding, very angry, very Southern, typically raised religious background sort of person. So I was like, absolutely not. And I still think, even to this day, like one of the ways I deal with my problems is I'm like, well, I'm just not going to talk to my parents about them, because if I know they're going to have a bad reaction, I'm like, what if I just like, well, I could just not tell them.
It's a little bit easier, yeah.
I just like pretend like it's not happening. So that's what I did. My mom was like, well, you have to tell him. And I was like, no way. So he found out. And like probably like one of my most traumatic and like the worst, there's two really bad ones where I remember just him like coming into my room, and I remember sitting in my chair. I had an office chair and a desk in my room, and I was sitting in my office chair, and it was a swivel chair. And I remember my dad walking in circles around me and just saying like the worst shit you could say to your kid. Like, you're worthless, you're horrible, I can't believe you're my daughter, I don't want you under my roof, I didn't raise you this way. You know, like the stereo, in which like sucks. Not nice to hear, but as a person who gets really angry and says stupid shit all the time, I know he doesn't mean it, but like it's one of those things where you're like, I'm just gonna live with this deep these words that you've said to me, and they're gonna hang in there for a little bit. And then we never talked about it, and I was just like, fuck it, then I'm just gonna date people behind your back, I guess. So I just like started dating girls behind their back, and for a moment I was like, well, and I've done it I think a few times in my life. Honestly, I think that if we could live in a culture, especially an LGBTQ society, which was more forgiving, we live in a really, it's strange to say, but like I think because the LGBTQ society has been through so much, they're very defensive and they are kind of gatekeepy.
So well, it makes sense, you know, like yeah. Because you weren't allowed to even be in the gate, right? Like it was like you were outside the gate
like,
first.
This is my community, and fuck you if you're gonna try to fuck it up or change it, because this is what I built my life around, because I didn't have anything else, which right. I totally understand. I'm not mad at you about it, but it's definitely one of those things where like I think I probably would have come out as a lesbian 1,000%, and I still to this day think I do this thing where when me and my current girlfriend, we broke up for 9 months, and I was like, well, because I know it makes my family happy, I will try to date men. And I kept trying, and I was like, I will date, and maybe they're not right, and maybe this one's not right, and maybe one's not right. And I was just like, every single time I'm like, something is missing. But because I know that I'm such an indecisive person, and I never want to be like that person that like injures or has to go back on what they say in the LGBT community, I'm just like, it's safer. Just stick under this bi umbrella. I'm just gonna huddle underneath it, because if you, it's almost like if you identify as something else, then you have to like, which I know it's not, but like especially as a streamer, I think or being in the public eye at all, it's just one of those things where you have to be like going back on something, and having to deal with that is just like.
Well, I mean, that's honestly like a really big problem with just streaming in general. Like people can't accept that opinions can change, and like the gray area isn't often talked about. Like you'll hear all day how you can generically be positive, but you won't hear about like specifically how, you know, negative the experiences were helped you or negative the experiences that you've had have helped propel you into like a better mindset. You know, there's 240 characters. You can't do that shit unless it's on a conversation or stream. And I mean, like, I'm honestly, one of the biggest parts about this conversation too is I know that you didn't mean to have that conversation, but I think that, and I think you would agree with this, like your positive effect of sharing this story with people and those who are listening right now, I think that it's a really great thing, because you're not talking about it from a perspective of a, like I would say like somebody tainted or traumatized or whatever. It's like you've dealt with the shit and you're still dealing with the shit, and you recognize that. And I mean, when you're saying like, you know, you're it's hard to date LGBTQ people, cerebral or cerebi. I mean, that makes sense, because you're talking about people who were not allowed to be themselves, right? Yeah. So like there's a lot of weight and baggage and trauma that needs to be unpacked, and like that doesn't come out easily. It's like you need therapy, you need somebody to talk to. It's like,
well, like shared experiences in any relationship are super important. It's like me, like I did a dumb thing where I was 25 and I dated somebody that was 19, 20, and I was like, this is definitely 1,000% too young for me. But there was like that one point where I realized that they had never paid their own bills. or they'd never gone through the same trauma that I had gone through, where I was like, I cannot make a deep connection with you because you haven't gone through. That's like the whole humanity thing. Like, we have to have shared connections in order to make like a deep, meaningful relationship. And so like, yeah, if you don't have the emotional or empathetic capacity to have that's a whole bag of worms I'm not even gonna unlock. But if you don't have the emotional capacity to like accept a person who has gone through like that kind of trauma, like, then it's probably best for you to not get involved with them. But like, you have to be able to be like, yeah, they've been through some shit, which I think, though, that's why I think so many LGBTQ communities are so tight knit and so kind and so forgiving. Like, you can talk shit about them all you want, but like, you can look at like people like Ashley or people like Glitter and see like they are just like the kindest people, or like Misha Crossing, and like they want you to know that like it's okay to be you. And I see like a lot of people too, not to trash talk anybody, but like people who will be like, well, you can't just like go around on Twitch and base your community off of kindness. And you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make you individual. Like, you can't just be like, well,
can I add to that? Because like, yes, a lot of people, and I still am in this sort of perspective of that. The reason why that mentality exists, and the reason why like quote unquote toxic positivity is a thing.
Oh, that.
Right. And like, that's just a generic term. It doesn't mean fucking anything. To me, it means saying things to be positive for simply being positive, but it doesn't have any sort of like personal connection, or it's too generic to connect with. It's different than like Ashley raising her hand every fucking day, and she's such a fucking positive like force in every community. It's not generic. It's simply saying that I know you're going through a lot of shit. I know what you're like. I know that you have the capacity in you to be awesome. You've done it before. I believe you. And that's it. It's different than saying, pick yourself up and get up out there, because life is better. You know what I mean?
1,000%. Like, the like thing where people go onto Twitter and they're like, I'm going to give you advice and everybody's going to retweet it because we all know. Like, that shit's bullshit. Sorry.
That's what I'm talking about. It fucking hurts me.
What I'm saying is, I saw somebody the other day that was like, you can't just describe yourself as a streamer by saying you're kind, which like is, I think, really like, it's what so many LGBT and especially women describe their streams as, because there is such a giant lack of it. And to tell them that they can't describe themselves as kind streamers is such fucking bullshit. All these people want to do is be nice to you. And you're like, well, you can't just market yourself off kindness, but like, they are, and they're doing.
And they're doing it successfully, you stupid fuck.
I don't understand. I don't know. It's just like one of those things where I totally understand getting, oh yeah, that fucking, I see it too, where people are like, they'll pick up their thing and they're like, I'm going to give you a nugget of wisdom. And I'm like, please fucking don't do it. I don't want it. Suck that nugget right back up your ass. I don't want that nugget of wisdom. I don't want it.
I like how you say that, because that's exactly where it comes from. It comes from their ass.
Straight from your ass. You're talking right out your asshole. It's not even real knowledge. You just like want to give the internet something. We've all wanted to give the internet something. Let's be real. We've all done it. It's fine. But like, doing that is different than being like like I feel like it was you, and honestly 2 other people have called both me, Ashley, and Glitter like the Holy Trinity. And the way I describe us is that we're a sliding scale of kindness.
You're the Triforce.
For the Triforce. Ashley is like the kindest person you'll ever meet in your entire life. Ashley Roboto, sorry. And she's so nice and genuine, and just you want to hold her in your arms like a precious little baby, and then she's gonna hold you right back, and then she's probably gonna, like, I don't know, eat you out or something, because that's what she wants to you.
Yes. The way I explain it is violent appreciation. Like,
violent and probably sexual.
Yeah, snap my fucking neck, you beautiful angel. Like, I love that shit.
Snap my fucking neck, eat my ass, you perfect angel. I love you so much. That's Ashley. And then you have me, which is like, I'm very nice, but also like, I will 1,000% like be sassy back to you, which is like a thing that like
you're courageous as fuck.
Yeah, Ashley's normally like, I'm like gonna be most, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be mostly nice and also fuck you. And then Glitter's like more fuck you, and also but I love you and I want to give you a hug. So there's like the really nice and the nice with the fuck you, and then fuck you, but also I love you so much, which is like how I think me and all of us like fit in that scale. And I think it cracks me up to think about it.
I agree. Like, I out of the, and it sounds weird. So like Ashley, like because of my personality, like Ashley, I love hanging out in her stream, but in terms of doses, like she is the smallest dose out of all three of you that I have. And then you are very much on the same wavelength as me, where like you can be level-headed, but you have extremes. And then Glitter is just like guarded and then like very, very kind and sweet, but also like gonna snap your fucking neck. And like I love that shit.
Oh no, yeah,
like,
that hits me right in the giggle.
Yeah,
thing, as they would say.
Yes, exactly.
Deep in the giggle dick. Well, I think also we talked about this a little, but like Glitter is one of those people where I wasn't posting on social media because I fucking hated it and I thought it was super toxic. And like once I like started following people that I like admired, and that person was Glitter, and like seeing them be funny and be just like unapologetic and like just be like, my family is like one of those, we're like really loud and we're like aggressive and we don't. Like my dad, it has just as vulgar a mouth as I do. So like to like see Glitter go out there and say like dumbass aggressive shit towards trolls, and then be able to like go back and do that myself and be like, oh, I can say the jokes that I say and post them on the internet and people will think they're funny. Like that was just one of those things where I was like, oh, Glitter's the tits.
She gave you permission. Like it's like you just didn't you weren't certain.
I was like, oh, you can be yourself on the internet. Crazy. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and then I think we're all bi. So like having like all of us be there and all of us just be like bi different levels of blonde is I think we're all blonde to some capacity.
That makes sense.
Yeah. We're just like all us walking different paths.
Yeah. Well, you guys are slight variations of each other, right? So it's like it goes back to that whole you are me living a different life, right?
Yeah,
like even
exactly.
more so. And I kind of explained this before, and I'm sure you would agree. I keep fucking saying this. I do this every talk show. It's like, I'm sure you would agree, or some fucking sentence that is like something. It's like a theme. But
it's like when you start an essay and you're like, first of all.
Yeah. But the way I explain like people and how they come in contact with each other, and there's like a gravitational pull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this as you go through the universe, right? You have these people that get brought into your gravitational pull and they get to hang out with you, and either it becomes stronger and you guys stay there for billions and billions of years, or you get shot off into a different part of the universe and you bond with somebody else. And that's just part of like the whole growing process. So like you guys have been around each other for who knows how long, but you just didn't have the technology on your planets to know who you were or whatever, right?
Circulating each other's sassy ass moons,
right?
Just waiting to touch each other's asses,
right?
I like the idea of a moon with hands.
2 scoops. Oh wait, no, that's the sun. Fuck, that's. I was thinking of Raisin Bran. It's not the moon, guys. Just so you know, we do a science talk show every week on Thursday.
That's not the moon. It's the title of the science show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the moon.
Okay, so wait, we got off track because we were talking.
I'm so sorry. We go back to the.
No, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. So you were talking about how hard. Hey, the olive tree. That's a really great question. If you'd like to ask it, since we're like not on that topic, here you go. There's the instructions for asking a question. So you can copy and paste that whole thing. ! Q. Type it in, and we will review them at the end of the stream. So if you guys notice like we're swept up in conversation, I mean, Luxie has permission to point this out if it's on topic. Like I'll find it.
Important question. I have so many things to say about it.
Do you want to answer it right now? I mean,
oh no, I don't know. No, that's too much to get into right now. We'll never get back from it.
Ask it later. All right, you can pop it in there.
Question later.
Yeah, ! Q, and then ask that question, and we'll get to it. I promise. But we were talking about what?
Sorry, that's so nice. I think it's true. It's really rare to see like LGBT streamers. It is, which is like I think that's another can of worms. Why it's so nice to see people like in the LGBTQ tag. Like I remember like being like, oh shit, there's a gay tag, you know? Because like being able to like see other gay people and follow them is really cool and important. But like being able to like be out and like be like seen, it's really important. I think back to being like on the gay train. What I realized with my parents is just to exist and like let people get used to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, have you ever like introduced a dog to another dog? Like there's just like this period where you kind of like, yes, you tiptoe it in. You put the puppy in the room with the other dog and you let it sniff it and then you take it back out again. Like this is how I like this is what a weird fucking metaphor. I'm a puppy. But I like put myself in and took myself out of situations with my family for a long time. But as soon as I was 18 and I moved out, I moved out and I was like, nah, I'm gonna step away. And I remember I started seeing my ex-fiance, and my mom like came to me and was like, why are you so upset? Because I was like, I wanted to tell her, but I was so scared. And she was like, are you seeing someone? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, is it a girl? And I was like, yes. And she was like, okay. And it was like not bad, but it was not good.
Sure.
And so I was like, well,
can you go into that a little bit more? Like, what was not good about it? You don't need to go into details. You can like describe the feelings if you want. Or okay.
It's like one of those things where like, have you ever had somebody not like you be fake nice to you? And you're like, I know you're being like super fake nice to me right now. Like somebody at work where that's just like,
oh yeah. It's just like, what do you want?
Day. Yeah. Yeah, and you're just like, fuck you. I just want you to just, at least if you're gonna be a bitch, just be a bitch.
Just be a bitch right to my face.
Incredible human being. Probably one of my best friends, but she's one of those people that when she doesn't like something, she does this thing where she just either does what I do, which is pretends that it doesn't exist, or she's like super kind of fake nice about it. And she was fake nice to my ex. And I just remember being like, this sucks. Like to watch somebody that you love so much just like talk to the person that you love so much like they are just a customer at a retail store. And like it was so like surface level. Like I don't care about you. And like I'm gonna ask you about your day and be nice to you.
It was almost like treating somebody like they're a child, even though
yeah. And it's
demeaning.
It's demeaning and it's belittling and it's childish to assume that person doesn't know you're being fake, because they know. Humans know.
100%.
We're not stupid. I'm not going to date a person that's like a dumb rock that's just going to be like, she liked me. She liked me a lot. Especially as a queer person, when you know you're going into a situation where that person may not like you, like you're super sensitive to it. So that was really bad. And I know for a fact, nobody really talked about it. I just would do shit. I would just bring her to family events. And I was just like, we're just going to do it. I was like, this is the only way it's going to be normalized. And I got engaged to her. And I didn't tell them. I just posted it on social media. And in my head, I was like, I can post this and have thousands. When I dated this girl, I was working at Disney, which I was like very popular on the internet for being a gay princess, because it's like I was the gay princess. They literally called me the gay Merida at Disney World. That's how rare it was to see a gay princess. So obviously people on social media were infatuated by it. Just like it's like Serby said, like it's rare to see an out LGBT pro like gay or queer streamer. It's not something you regularly see, especially somebody like who's in a relationship or that puts it online. So it was one of those things where I had a big following and I was like, I can put it out there and have thousands of people be happy for me. Or I can call my parents and have a bad conversation because I'm like gonna experience this positive moment. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna have the positive moment, which obviously ended in a negative moment because my mom, I like ended up talking to them. And I just remember being in the parking lot. I got engaged on Main Street of Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World to my ex-fiance at like the middle of the night. And we were in the cast member parking lot in her car afterwards. And I was sitting in the passenger seat and I'm like covered in glitter and I'm like wearing a ring. And I just remember like talking to my mom on the phone, and she was or texting her at first. And she was just like, I can't believe you would put this on the internet and not tell me. And I just wanted to be like, well, if you have not been supportive up until this point, in my head, I'm like, why would I tell you? Why would I tell you? Like, what have you done to merit me telling you this positive thing in my life? And I just remember talking to my dad on the phone. And it was like the second time where it was just one of those things where he was just mad. And it's when you step back from it and look at it from his point of view, it's a moment where you think my dramatic, like theatrical child is it's real. You know what I mean? Up until that point, you're probably like, it's a phase. I can wash it under my seat and I don't have to think about it. It's probably a phase. Especially if she's bi. You know what I mean? She could date either. She could break up with this girl and date a guy. And it was one of those moments because it was made so real that I think it just really made him angry. And he was just like, you'll never be underneath my roof. You'll never live I don't support the life you lead. Like, I just can't do it. which like was fake as shit because 2 weeks later we're having dinner with my parents. But it was just like one of those things where I was like, well, if this is how it's going to be, then I'm just going to have to stop interacting with you. If you want to be a fucking dick, I'm not going to talk to you. And you have to like, you introduce a puppy. It was one of those things where they were like, any opportunity I had to showcase that my relationship was normal and good, I did it. They were like, do you want to come to dinner? Yes. We'll be at Thanksgiving.
That was the best way to do it for sure. Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. And it's really hard. It's so fucking hard.
Oh yeah, because you get the laser beam eyes and you feel it.
Oh,
you know,
well,
like
it's worse because even in that situation, and my ex, we were both very fuck you. We're both very fuck you personalities. Whereas like now, like I'm very fuck you and Bean is very sensitive and like in the best way possible. I love her for it because it means she's so kind. But it's one of those things where when you're in that situation and you know that the person you care about the most in the entire world is about to walk into a room of people that are going to judge her, you're so worried. It's like putting your child in a fucking pool where they could drown. And you're like the only life like that they have to do. And it's worse almost because you're like, I don't give a shit about me, but I'm about to throw you to like the dinner table with my family that's probably going to use gay as like an insult. You know, like you're just going to be like, oh, here you go. Like my family's going to call you a faggot or something like that. Like it's like one of those things where I remember vividly, I wasn't with one of my partners, but I heard my dad like make an insult about somebody looking like a super butch woman, like, but not in a nice way. And I was just like, you can't say shit like that. It's like one of those things where you have to be like, I'm going to stand in front of you, of this person and like scream. But it's just so really hard. It's really hard to be that gay person and be like, people are like, well, and it's true. The only thing that's going to fix your problem is time. And the only thing that's going to like solve this is that people need to get used to you like a puppy. And it's the worst for that person. And it's definitely very hard for the parents because as I've said before, and I'll say many times, when they birth you, they hold you in their arms and they look at you and they're heterosexual and they look at you and you're heterosexual because they're heterosexual and they plan your life. And it's not their fault because that was how they were raised and that's the era they grew up in. And they just don't mean to. It's like raising my dog's life where I expect her to walk nicely on a leash and when she doesn't, I'm like, fuck you, man. I thought we had this. I thought we were going to go through this together. And they don't do what you want them to do. And it's very frustrating. And you have to step back and be like, oh, it's not my decision. It's their decision. And it's a different life they're leading. And it's really hard to separate. As a parent, it's really hard to step away and separate that. I can totally put myself in their shoes and be like, this sucks. You know, like I've planned a whole life and I have to completely rewire my brain. I swallowed some dumbass Pop Rocks as a baby and I got to throw them back up.
We all did.
We all swallowed the dumbass Pop Rocks and we got to throw them back up again. But even me, I swallowed the dumbass Pop Rocks and I got to throw them back up again. But it's just really hard on both parties to be level headed and it's really hard to be patient and it's really painful because not only is it like a really integral moment for everybody to be patient, but you're not. You're mad and you're really emotional and you're like super upset about it. So it's like a really hard thing to be like, I don't know. It's a thing that people all the time, especially in cancel culture, are like, hey, this person's super homophobic and they're super bad. And it's I know as a gay person, it sucks to see a person be a homophobic idiot, but you have to be like, can't you just like look at them and be like, they were fed the dumbass Pop Rocks and like step away maybe instead of
that's what we're doing right now in chat. It looks like so Cork920. Like I understand where you're coming from because you've eaten the dumbass Pop Rocks while you were a kid and you've come into a chat where we are talking about the upbringing. Right. Like I understand where you can come from and I understand like, you know, the way you can say these things, but it's not a fact that anybody from the LGBTQ community can have kids. Like it's just you need to go to therapy.
It's almost like you're saying, and I just want to you, which is hard because you swallowed the dumbass Pop Rocks and you've got your hand right on your penis. But it's almost like every single straight couple that can't have children, they're not valid. So what you're saying by saying that gay people can't have children because they're gay is that also that straight people who are infertile are also gay basically and they can't have children and they suck. So I don't know, maybe think about it. And when your spermies stop swimming, you're now gay and it sucks to be you. It just doesn't make any sense.
And like in this situation, I know like in Luxie, I know in Luxie, like in Luxie's chat, you'd be just yeeted into the sun and you'd never be welcome back again. The reason why I timed you out once is because you said something that wasn't true. So just because you say something is fact doesn't mean it is fact. There are certain instances where like that wouldn't be the case. So instead of derailing the conversation and not participating in it and being unwilling to listen to people, this is where you get banned infinitely. So Luxie, I'll let you do the honors, all right?
Stop. Do I really?
No, I can do it for you, but I want you to have that final thing.
Cork, listen to me. First of all, as a gay person, I really hope one day when you let go of your dick and also let go of your dumbass pop rocks that you swallowed as a child, that you realize that your anger is coming from probably your mommy and daddy issues and also from the sadness that you feel from not feeling as involved in things as you wish you did. And that sucks. But you could have been involved here if you just been nice. So maybe swallow this as you would swallow your own cum. You can be more involved in communities and people will interact with you more if you're just nice. It's really, honestly, it's that simple. I hope you have a nice life and really just start to be nice. Okay, bye. Also, my girlfriend was adopted, so I don't fuck with that bullshit adoption shit. I will throw you to the ground. Will body slam you.
Blap.
Banning infinite Earths.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I feel honored that you did that on my channel. Anytime like I get somebody and this is again like a testament.
Like a Discord call.
Yeah, over a Discord call. It's like I never had to do that. I never had to do that for anybody coming in, and I anticipated that I would have a few people who, especially once the tag changed. I updated the tag to LGBTQ. Per request of Sarah Bai, and I honestly I was debating it, and I know Trash, I know I saw your question. You posted it twice. Don't worry, it is logged. So when you guys put like !Q and you type your question or your response or something that you want us to look at, it does get put into the poll, so we will address it at the end. So I did see your comment. We will address it. But if you guys are worried about, I know chat's moving like pretty quickly. If you guys feel like you're going to be missed, !Q and then type out what you'd like to say or ask, and we'll get to it. I promise.
Yeah, I promise.
But yeah, I figure. Thank you for allowing me to do it. The reason why the tag wasn't there, Sarah Bai, actually relates to Trash's question, because I didn't. I mean, this is just, I'm a supporter.
Like debate about tagging yourself as LGBTQ if you're not.
Well, for Trash, he feels like he's part. Well, I guess he's part of the community. I didn't get the full question because chat's moving so quick. We'll get to it, but I think it was something related to that. For me, like, I mean, I could put it in there, but I'm not gay, and I respect how people feel about their community and stuff. So as a straight white male, it's like. I don't feel it's not that I don't feel like I can use that tag or do it. I just don't I don't want to give the perspective or give anybody the leeway to push a perspective on me that I am trying to take advantage of anything.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. Yeah. Where you're just like, I just wanted to be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Because like as a white dude, it's like, that's not possible.
Yeah, people are like, what do you mean nice?
Yeah, nice white guys. What the fuck? Yo, you're probably on our nice guys. Yeah. Probably tipping lay fedora and saying "milady" and all that shit. I'm like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely a really. The only thing I'm gonna say about it is a super. It's a super, I don't know, touchy topic to like tag yourself for LGBT to be an ally or to tag yourself because you are in LGBT. And I think, in my opinion, I totally understand. Why you would want to tag yourself if you are an ally because you want to create safe spaces. But I just would like to point out that most and all streams on Twitch should be safe spaces for LGBTQ people because it's an LGBTQ supportive space. That's what Twitch is. That's why we have Pride emotes. That's why it's such a giving community to queer people in general. So I think, in my opinion, it's almost like a dating site. Sorry. You spend so much time saying it's not a dating site.
It's not a dating site. One more time for the people.
It's not a dating site.
Thank you.
But like it's like that one thing where it's really hard to find gay people, so it's nice to be able to be like on the tag and just be like, oh, that's a gay person, instead of going in. It sucks to go into the LGBTQ tag as me as a person and be like, oh, are you gay? You know what I mean? It sucks, and you don't want to have to like tag yourself as that. It would suck to have to like tag yourself specifically and be like bisexual.
Yeah, I mean that was our thing during a terrible time.
Oh yeah, true. Just tag myself, but yeah, I think it's a nice way to be able to be like, I know you're in my community, which like it's not like being an ally isn't as good, but it's different. It's shared trauma.
Agreed.
We're looking for the shared trauma.
Right. Yeah, I would say like, I don't know, we do share trauma to a certain extent, and people all over have different life scenarios and stuff, and it's easy to be dismissive based on like face value shit. But I think like, I know it's, again, like it comes back to that phrase of you or me living a different life, and I'm sure you've experienced something in a very similar fashion, and we can all have empathy towards each other, and you need to respect how people feel about it. You may not agree with it, but you need to respect it and understand that it's different. So yes, I do understand, you know, fucking Cork 920, who's probably still watching this and steaming over it. I understand
really
where you come from.
He doesn't have his hand where I think it is. That's all I want.
Probably. I mean, go to bed, Charlie. You know,
Charlie, please, the tissues, Charlie.
So Charlie, there's chafing. You can't do that, Charlie. But it really is like, I understand where that comes from, because like I grew up like especially in a Greek family, like who, by the way, I mean, if you look at our history, there's a lot of gay things happening in ancient Greek stuff. Like for everybody to be like, ugh, like in my family, especially, I'm like, literally your ancestors were probably boning each other and shit, and you gotta be okay with it. Like you can't just not, it's in fucking stone. They liked it so much it was in stone. Like it wasn't even on paper. They carved that shit out and it's been there for a millennia, and you're like, nah, dude, that doesn't exist.
The land. They literally tattooed the land.
Literally. The land.
Like dicks and balls.
Dicks and balls together all over the place. It's carved. They carved the gay, yes. And like, it's so funny too, because like oh my God. Well, I won't get into it, but it's machismo. The machismo of the Greek people is very funny, because in the past it was like, well, yeah, I mean, you were boning your brother and shit.
Like, don't be gay. But I mean, well, we used to, but we don't do it anymore. Konky,
yeah.
Please sit down. Please stop fighting for the gay rights. We don't do that anymore.
And here I am pointing at the fucking stone that's like 1 billion years fucking old, you know?
You have like a neon sign and you're like,
yeah.
Oh,
it's art. I'm like, that's lit. No,
that's pornography, Mom.
And you know it's pornography, and you know a fucking person jerked off to that shit. To stone.
Maybe that was like their jerking stone. Though.
That's what I'm saying.
Jerked onto the stone.
100%. You're telling me that's not the case?
Stone.
No, a bunch. Yes.
I've just never thought about it. You just opened a brain bubble that I've never experienced before.
You're welcome.
I just had to.
Welcome to the XP Talk Show.
All right, I thought about it. It's a sticky ass stone. That's a very sticky stone.
Yes, 100%.
Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I have to think about that for the rest of my life.
Talk about tribute to the gods. Yeah, I mean.
No!
I mean, come on, dude. Those Greek stories are pretty nuts. Yeah.
More like tribute to my dad, probably, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. So funny. I love how like we went from.
We stand the sticky stone. Yes, Sam has the cutest fucking Stan emote. I can't take it.
That is really cute.
It's so cute. He's so excited to stand your sticky stone.
Sam J. That's your emo. That's so cute.
It's so cute. I just wait for him to come in and stand something, to be honest.
Can't wait to come in and stand something. Fucking hell, dude. All right.
The Greeks.
There's so much. There's a lot of stuff happening. Oh God.
Oh God. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Me too. Most of it was from laughing. Honestly, that tipping point was the eating of his own skin, and you used the scalp portion, and I was like,
sorry. People need to know. He needs to be publicly shamed.
Yeah. That's pretty nuts.
I don't remember where we were.
He needs therapy.
He does. I hope he has it. He climbs rocks now.
Dude. Well, I mean, I honestly like that. We did cover a lot, like from that whole conversation of you. The growing up thing was you explained perfectly like what that
Yeah.
was. I mean, how has been this whole like I mean acceptance and stuff on Twitch and like all of the streaming, like how has that impacted you with all of the things that's been happening?
It's been good. I think I went a really long in my life too where I was like, because I had been in a okay, I feel like as a queer person, people don't experience us very often, especially experience l- like non-sexualized queer couples, female queer couples. So for the
What do you mean?
longest
What do you mean by that? Are you talking about like in porn and stuff, or
yeah. Like I feel like when like what people are most normalized in like lesbian couples is like two femme girls with fingernails like fucking each other on Pornhub. Like that's like the most like some people get as a queer representation.
oh,
So like
gotcha, yeah,
seeing like me in a in a like actual queer relationship on like Twitter or like on social media or on Twitter or on Twitch. Sorry. God, your names are so similar. Why would you do that to me? Is like one of those things where for a really long time I was like, I'm not gonna put my relationships on the internet. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Sucks. Sucks because then you have to deal with fallout if there's fallout. But like there's one of those things where you like have to sit back and like it's like really important. It's so important to so many of my viewers and it's so important to so many people that follow me to like witness my relationship or like just witness me being a gay human because like it's something they don't get to see and it's something you like don't get to experience because people are scared to put their relationships out there and because so many people are closeted, it's like one of those things that you can't like you don't see very often. So, I don't know. It was like a really big thing, especially after like my breakup with my ex, where I was like, I went through a big phase where I was like, I'm not gonna put anything on social media anymore. And then I sat down and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna do it again. But it's one of those things where I know my mom would rather me not do it because I don't know if it's a double-edged sword. It's so hard because I want to put myself in their shoes and I can't figure out which one it is. Does my mom not want me to put it on social media because she thinks my platform should be my own? Or is it deep-seated homophobia? I can't make up my mind. I don't know which one it is. I just want to know. But like it's one of those things where I know she would rather me not do it and I know I'm gonna have to have a conversation that is like I know that you don't agree with what I'm doing by putting my relationship on the internet, but I also would like you to know that because you're not gay, your relationship doesn't. There's so many of you beautiful straight women dating men and having children, and it's like really rare, especially like what I believe I'm about to go into, which is like getting married and like going through the process of having kids. People are so ignorant to it, like you know what I mean, like you
right,
see people like Cork who are like you can't have kids. It's people like my girlfriend's family who like are like, oh, you can't have kids because you're gay. It's an opportunity to expand people's minds by just literally scrolling past it and understanding that it exists. It's like it's
right.
like scrolling through and seeing that like Neuralinks is real.
You're talking about microdosing is really what it is. Like you're
A
microdosing,
1000%.
yeah, through social media and like all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and by doing it and by promoting it, it's normalized, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like a demanding thing. It's just this exists.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well, and
mean?
also because I think I'm in a wonderful opportunity because I am femme and I pass as straight and I'm like people get used to me and they like me and maybe they didn't like gay people before. But now they're like they like me and they like my content and then they're like, "Oh shit. Now we know she's gay." You know what I mean? And you have to like go through the feelings where like, "Oh, well I really like them and now I know they're gay." And well, I guess it's not that big a deal. It's one of those things where you have to I'm in a unique situation where I can get used to the idea of being nice to other people, which is what it really just is. But like being nice to other people because I can normalize it, which is
Right,
like you. I mean, like you're in a situation where as like a straight white male, like you can be nice to other people and show other straight white men that it's pretty easy to be nice to other people.
right.
And I think it's like I talked about it when I talked about it to you the other day when it's like ninja.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where you don't have to there was like a big oh yeah, this is what it was. I said dude to somebody and it was like they considered it misgendering, which in my defense I do gender neutrally, but I found out from multiple people that it can be offensive. So I had to step back and be like, well, I'm on a platform. If this was just my life, I would probably continue to use the word dude. Many people will. A lot of people still think that it is a genderless word. But I'm on a platform where multiple people will see me. And if I talk to somebody that makes them feel isolated, I don't want that opportunity to happen. It's like how I expect Ninja to stream with women. You set the example for so many human beings, and you have that opportunity to be a good person and to stream with women.
Right.
And if I'm expecting that of Ninja, then I should be expecting that of myself. And it's like that through using proper terminology, or through inclusive terminology, and through like posting, normalizing like my relationship. I think those two are really important. But
I agree. I did the same thing, because I used to call when I started streaming, and when I was primarily a viewer, I was using "What's up, Deuterinos?" And I was doing the same thing, because I say Deuterinos all the time, and that is it's primarily a male thing. And so I switched it to just like homies or Hadley Doodly, because like I have a mustache and people associate me with Flanders. And like I wanted to be like, honestly, my biggest inspirations were like growing up was like Mr. Rogers and stuff, like Neighbor and all that, so it was like I want everybody to feel comfortable and talk and be okay with it. And that's why, like, even with Cork, like I'm not quick to ban unless somebody is being stubborn and just willing to combat it, because like obviously, like, I'm not gonna assume the age. I'm not gonna assume
us.
Hey, you did it in your stream. You do it more than once.
I punch my mic like every day, at least twice a day. I think there's a command.
No joke. I saw my friend Etwert, who's an amazing person. He fucking poked himself in the eye with the microphone because it's aimed at him, and he was just. And I was like, oh my god, it was just so funny, because like it wasn't even a joke. He was like, ow, like he was really hurt. And I was like, dude, how many times has this happened? Come on.
Be honest with us. How many times have you poked yourself in the eye like this?
But yeah, like I'm not quick to ban, because I can understand why people would come into a chat with a lot of people in it and want to have a conversation, and I'm more than happy. It's not even humor. It's like I genuinely would like to hear you out and see where you come from, because very quickly, and I don't know if you'd adopt this. Obviously, you're in a different situation. I like you said, I'm in a unique scenario where like I don't really have a space, really. You know what I mean? I have to kind of like make it my own. I don't have the like I'm white and straight and a mustached man. Like nobody fucking does that.
A flag.
It's just like a mustache.
Mustache and glasses.
Right. Yeah. But I want people to be able to engage in conversation, and like I've had people who say really outlandish shit. I'm like, dude, what happened? Like what brought you to the point where you had to come in here and like literally not ruin anything? You didn't ruin anything, first of all, if that was your intention. But why did you stop the conversation? What is halting the progress of like interaction and exchanging of information? Why even do that? And then it's, if that doesn't yield anything, then it's okay, stubbornness, and you'll come back later with a different account, or we'll ban you, and you'll hopefully become a better person, and maybe you're still watching. My hope is that the conversation was interesting enough to still be watching and still engage, even though you couldn't physically type out what was going on. So yeah. Man, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but
no, you're fine. Yeah. I think I come from like a two-way street, because like for the first part, I find people saying like really offensive things like that, it's hard for me, literally, because I have to experience it in my actual family life. It's hard for me to see. I hate to see it. It's so frustrating for me to see. So I'm like, I want to get it out of there, but also I want to use you for content.
Yeah.
So like first let me get like a sweet nectar of content and then get you out of there. But I know that it's happened in many cases where there's like it's like a joke now to make God damn it, Andy. It's like a joke to make, like, you come in and be like, what's up, who's gay? Or like say things that might, if you're like in the gay community, you could say things that could come off as offensive. And I know I've banned people before, and they're like, oh shit, I was just making a gay joke because I'm gay. It's so hard to be like, oh, you You can't just come into somebody's chat and be like, fuck you, gay people. But
Right.
you're also gay, because I can't read your mind.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that. Yeah, it's just hard. You're much more patient than I could ever be. But also, we have very different brands. I also think your scientific like brain probably comes and is very helpful in that scenario. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
you're like,
again, like,
sides.
I mean, just to give you perspective too, like I'll just straight up, I've talked about it before, but I worked at an Apple store for a long time, and like people, I mean, I'll share this story too, like as a funny story, but like I've had really intimate and crazy experiences with people who, for whatever fucking reason, while they were buying a computer or whatever, decided to trust me with their personal devices or their knowledge or their family shit. And I'm like, okay, you're telling me about your daughter who possibly had like sex, and I'm like, she's fucking 17 and I'm selling you a computer. What are you doing?
Therapy.
Right, like, go to therapy. I was like, that was literally what I did. Yeah, well, it was that, but I was like, literally, dude, like, I am an Apple store guy. Like, you need to go to therapy. Like, I can't, like, family therapy, maybe? I don't fucking know. I will share
an Apple store.
I will share with you later, but like the most fucking insane story that I still, like, it's imprinted in my DNA. I don't know how to explain it. It's gonna be with me till I die. I'll never forget the story. But
retail will do some crazy shit to you. I worked at Victoria's Secret, and I just remember having a woman, because they'll measure your boobs for you there. I had a woman walk in and literally just take her shirt off in the store and was like, "Can you measure my boobs?" And I was like, "Yes, in the dressing room with your shirt on, please, God, ma'am." I'm all for you having your titties out, but there are so many kids in the store.
Right. Holy shit.
I do not know you.
How old was she? Was she old?
She was like in her like mid-30s, almost 40. And
what the fuck? That's not like 60. I don't know. I feel like when you get a certain threshold of age, you're just like, I don't give a fuck. See my boobs.
Yes. You hit the old person age where you're like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. No,
right.
She wasn't there yet. She was like the middle age, like, and she looked like a, you know what? I didn't expect it. I wasn't expecting it. She was like walking into the store with a purpose, and then within a moment's notice. I've also had a woman ask me to feel her fake tits before, which was a real experience. I was
bet.
like, no. And she was like, yeah, do it. And I was like, dope.
God damn it.
Cool.
All right, I'll just share the story now. People who've heard it before, you'll recognize it. So it's just a normal day in retail. We're about like 45 minutes, hour to close at Apple Store. And for those of you guys who don't know, we close at like, it was like 9 or 10 o'clock during Saturdays, and then we spent an hour like wiping down everything and making sure everything's clean and leveled, and like their expectations for cleanliness and all that stuff was like top tier, obviously, because they want you to interact with the devices. And so this super unassuming couple comes in, and they're like, we are having trouble with our phones, and this was in my last 3 years of like working, so I'm a fucking tenured employee at this point. Right. So regardless of who I'm talking to, I'm asking the same questions, because you don't know who they're talking about, or like what they're talking about, or if like I'm gonna see something that I shouldn't, which is also, there's a lot of stories with that, but this is the one that sticks out the most. And so I
can only imagine.
They're so unassuming. They're like 60. I mean, they seem so sweet. I don't remember their names at all.
Please keep going. I need to know.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I'm talking with them, and they're like, "Hey, we're having trouble with our text messaging. Me and my wife, like, we want to be able to text our kids and be notified of our kids' like messages at the same time." And I'm like, okay, well, in order to do that, you have to share Apple IDs. So I'm like going into the phone, I'm asking permission every time I open an application, all this stuff. Like, is it okay if I go in here? And I ask twice every fucking time, because you do that when you are handling somebody's personal device. And so I'm going into the settings, and everything seems okay. And then he hands me his phone, and I look at his phone, everything's okay. And then they're like, but our text messages aren't the same. Like, is it okay if I go into your text messages? And they go, yeah, of course, that's fine. And I say, are you sure there is nothing you don't want me to see before I go in your text messages? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. So I open up his text messages, they're fine. His wife hands me her phone. I make eye contact with her. I open her text messages. It is her spreading her asshole. And definitely he took the photo because she can't use both hands. And I do the thing like, you know, and I oop. I just, without even blinking, I see asshole, go in the top left corner, back it out. I'm like, everything seems fine. And I give them back their phone and I look her in the eyes and I don't say it. But I know what your butthole looks like, lady.
You're like telepathically, you're like, I've seen literally into the eye that I was not supposed to see it.
I have not even seen my own asshole for as long as I saw that woman's asshole. Do you know how long you have to be in a relationship with somebody that were like, can you look in my butt? Like, what the fuck, dude? Seriously. And so...
I've been dating Bean like 2.5 years and we've just gotten to the butthole level.
Right?
So like...
And so I've seen this eye contact.
I don't know why you just took a picture and why was it?
Why? I know. I didn't have time. It wasn't about...
They have such a great sex life.
Right, exactly. I was like, good for you. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I asked you twice. I fucking asked you twice before I did anything. And literally just like eye contact. And I felt it. She's like, you know what my asshole looks like.
Okay, listen. It's not super, but I have a story to tell. I'm the asshole person in this story. Okay. It's not an asshole. It's not my asshole. But I lived in an apartment complex. I'm gay. I own dildos. Okay. Most females.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. I own dildos. Obviously, if you use a dildo, you have to clean them. I own more than one, and at one point in time was cleaning multiple dildos at the same time in my bathroom sink. I had maintenance men come to my apartment. They had to fix something in the bathroom. I am texting my girlfriend at the time. With my fiance, and I'm like, yeah, maintenance is here, and in my brain they like don't say, they're basically like, okay, we're gonna go fix this, and they walk in and they go into the bathroom, and in my brain I just go, oh, yep, they've seen my dildos, and I just remember very vividly texting my significant other and texting them and just saying, oh no, they've seen the dildos. And then I just had to have a conversation with them. Like they hadn't just seen like 4 dildos in the kitchen sink sort of situation. I was like,
That's literally the same thing that happened to me, but I saw this woman's asshole. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Just all these men had to be like, why does she have so many things?
I don't even remember these people's names, but they will remember what you look like, and I will remember that woman for the rest of my fucking life.
I can imagine them driving past my apartment in their fucking like in their little golf cart and being like, that's the girl. Oh, and it's worse too because when I left my last oh fuck, it's always dildos. When I left my last apartment complex, I kept my dildo like under like the bathroom sink, and before we left I looked at Bean, I looked at my girlfriend, and I said, I'm gonna do one more check, and she was like, basically like, you're being anal, you've done it too many times, you're fine, let's go. And I was like, okay. She was like very stern about it. She's like, we gotta go. And I left. Nothing else in the apartment but one multicolored tie-dye dildo under that. And I can just imagine those people cleaning up the apartment and just opening the cabinets and being like, all right, okay. So
all I imagine is like, do you have like they doggy bagged it? You know what I mean? Like picking up dog poop, like.
Yeah, they have like a glove on. And
yeah, turn the glove inside out.
Oh, I'm so sorry, apartment complexes. I've really done you literally dirty.
Oh, that was good.
At least it wasn't my asshole framed in a photo or something.
That was fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it ever. And the worst part of it too, it was near closing time. So this all happened to me, and I was just like flabbergasted. So we go into the back room. Like I go into the back room, and I'm like standing there, and I'm just sitting in the chair. And I'm just like blankly staring at a computer and not logged in or anything. And like Lee, the person who does the talk show with me on Thursdays, he comes in, he's like, dude, you all right? I'm like, dude, I just saw this woman's butthole. And he goes, what? Because he was in the back like working. He's like, did somebody come and show your butthole, dude? I'm like, no, dude, this is not what happened. And I explained the story exactly like that.
spreading their cheeks for you.
I mean, worse things have probably happened at an Apple store.
I would imagine
but
your brain
yeah, he hugged me and he hugged me as if like I was, well, yeah, exactly, like post-traumatic stress disorder, like just hug, like it's gonna be fine, dude. You can sit back here, just like come out when you're ready. It was so bad. I couldn't, and it wasn't like a shit phone too.
His first reaction was to gently hold you in his arms, like,
yeah, he's like, I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, honestly,
hug.
Lee's
I can only imagine the fear in your eyes.
I just couldn't comprehend that this couple that was so nice had that in their, I mean, understanding sex is, everybody does that, but like in the moment, it was just so I was not ready. Especially with her, because like the worst thing I would assume, and this is just my own presumptions. You open the male's
phone and you see like his dick.
Right. I'm like,
you're like, I could see a peen.
Right, but not like I'm gonna make eye contact with your wife, and then all three of us. I'm not gonna see
your wife's spread asshole in this Apple store.
And all three of us are gonna walk away knowing that I did that.
You, the good Lord himself, we've all seen it, and we have to just deal with that.
Right.
And move forward.
Fucking nuts, dude. What do you say we get into some of these questions that people have been asking?
I would love to.
All right, perfect. So we have a queue open. If anybody wants to ask questions now, feel free to get them in queue.
Speak now or forever hold your butthole photo on your phone.
God damn it. All right, so let me do this here really quick. Okay. First question comes from Bandersnatch. He says, women ask me if they can touch my beard. Is it acceptable for me to say yes, but only if I can touch their boobs? ?
Bandy, shut the fuck up.
All right. Answered. The next question comes from Sarah Bai. Is there a better way to describe emulating/mirroring someone's negative energy or emulating/mirroring someone's positive energy? Is there a better way to describe that? I think like, Sarah Bai, can you elaborate further on that? Like,
yeah, do you mean like taking on their negative traits or just being like in their mood because they have that mood?
Right.
I don't know what better way to explain that than to be like, the way that my mom describes it is like, if you're an empathetic person, like you're feeding off their energy, like you're feeding, whether it's positive or negative, you're feeding off that person's energy. Mm-hmm. So basically your energy's, they're snacking on it like it's a bag of Doritos.
Right.
I like how you said right to that, like it was like the most serious thing I've ever. You're like, yes, feeding like a bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like your analogies. They're really well done, even though like
they make no sense. Yeah. I mean, they make sense, but they're really awful.
They make sense. They're outlandish is the word I would use. Nobody uses the words you would use to describe. Like the first time you said that experience is like Pop Rocks that you've been eating your entire life and you just fucking keep eating them. You don't realize what you're eating until like later on. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I get it.
How can I explain this in a way that might be funny? Pop Rocks.
Right.
Well, like, I got it.
Yeah.
Pop Rocks.
Right.
I don't think that there's an academic way to say it, Serby, because there's like no way to prove that you're feeling something.
How the fuck do you say that shit in a non-hippy dippy way? So I think so, like, to say it academically, I think, well, here, Luxie, that question I think you can answer too. I'll let you go first and then I'll explain like how I think.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, the reason it's considered dippy is because there's like not like, it's not like a fully, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that are like, well, you can't prove that people are feeling other people's energy. Like, you could say that, like, you're feeling that other person's human connection. Like,
right. If I was to, like, I guess if I was to explain it to you, explain it, like, scientifically, like, the idea behind it is the energy or whatever you're talking about, that is a way you're learning to behave as a response to a stimulus. So like, for example,
perception, that's a good word too.
Right. So like, for example, my mother responds to stress by being angry and not thinking about why the stress is happening or why the stress is stressing her out. There's no question of why. It's just riding the wave, the momentum of the feelings, and then mirroring those of the people around you. Does that make sense?
Mirroring is a really good word that doesn't make you sound hippy dippy.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
The olive tree just wrote !Q, but the question is, what kind of porn do y'all watch? I remember that question.
Oh God, I remember. Personally, I find it really hard to find like actual queer couples having sex, specifically like gay couples having sex. The only thing I look for in porn is that a woman has an orgasm. If they're not, I can't watch it. I can't get into it. It really frustrates me to see people fake orgasms. I just want to know everybody's having a good time.
I feel the same way. Like, I mean, I'm a dude, so traditionally it's a lot easier to please straight white males, but like the sexual stimulation that I intake is I try to get as authentic as possible and not just like this like fucking bullshit and like disrespectful crap that I see a lot, because it's a huge turnoff. Like I can't nothing turns me on more than like respecting your sexual partner. I don't fucking know.
Wow, did you write that in your Tinder bio? Because I feel like
I never even had Tinder. I've never even.
It's fucked up because you could have just drug him in with that line.
Drug him in, yeah.
That's a
like
terrible
Bill
term.
Cosby.
Don't
drug people.
Everything I said back to not drug them.
You got to use both hands to accentuate it. Yeah.
Listen, earlier today I was talking about the fact that it was on a cam site, you guys, okay? I saw a girl put 7 pool balls up her asshole. Pool balls. And I talked about it on stream, and people are like telling me to be honest. I did. It was on a campsite. I saw a girl put 7 pool balls up her asshole. I couldn't turn away because I was so shocked. I was like, it's like watching you see a girl spread asshole, like a 6-year-old woman spread.
Yeah. You just can't turn away. And
That's what happened, you guys. I don't know what else to tell you. I wandered into the place and I found myself in a place. I was skipping down the yellow brick road, and then all of a sudden there were pool balls in an asshole, and I was stuck there with my basket and Toto, and I was like, this is not Kansas. This isn't even a campsite. Right. I don't know what's happening. I blacked out.
Well, Phasmalic, I mean, you say that, but like, just a reminder, your shit, like the tube that makes poop is really long. Like, we've all been there where like we finished using the bathroom and we're like reminded that we have a giant lower intestine, small intestine, quote unquote, but you're like, what the fuck is this? You're like, that's how much can fit in there and more. So 7 pool balls is that woman's, capability, I guess, right?
I was just really proud of her, honestly. It was pretty impressive. As Ashley said when I told her, she said, that's pretty impressive, to be quite honest with you.
Right. So this question comes from Wait, I Am Trash. He says, I'm going to be blunt. Being a white male, I find it hard to want to use a LGBTQ plus tag on Twitch while being pan. I'm afraid. Why does this get cut off? What the hell?
I read this question. He's like, he's afraid that it's like, okay, it's invalid. Do you feel like because you're a white male that I just want to understand why you feel this way. Do you feel like because you don't look gay in any sort of way that you can't use it, or do you feel like maybe that like you don't fit in with that crowd so you don't want to use the term? I don't know if Trash is still here. I love Trash, but I don't know. I'm Trash. I don't know if that's why he doesn't want to use it, if it's because he doesn't view himself as fitting in with the crowd, or if it's because he doesn't feel like he can because he doesn't
look like it.
Pass. It's like passing, right? You don't feel like you pass as a queer person, because I definitely don't look like a queer person from most people's standards. I look very straight. I pass as very straight and heterosexual. So
you'll be
I feel like I don't look the part.
And
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think that's true. I think that's the answer. Fuck off, baby.
I feel like well, I mean, this is just me. Like my assumption is that anybody can be. It's not about looking the part.
Yeah.
Right?
If
you can just be.
You're gay. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the whole purpose of the tag, is because you can't just scroll through Twitch and be like, that person's gay. You know what I mean? That's why you get to tag yourself, because then you can scroll through the tag and be like, oh, that person's gay. Right. Like that's a nice way to identify people. That's the entire reason it exists. There's no reason you should be invalidated by not looking the part.
Right.
And that would mean I couldn't use the tag. That's silly. You please use the tag. Let me hold you in my arms, you pansexual fucking angel.
And like, as somebody who, I mean, I'm a huge...
And it's important for you to use that tag, because then people who look like you will realize it's okay to look like you and be pansexual. You know what I mean? Like, you are making strides. Like, that's an important thing for you to do.
Right.
If you want to. You don't have to. I'm just saying, if you feel like you can, please do.
Yeah. You have I mean, you have permission to do so, right? You don't the
Yeah.
permission comes from yourself and being comfortable with it, but like the community, and this is just my experience from like a straight sensitive boy, you know, like I I wouldn't be the same person I am today without like my friends who enabled me to be the best person I am and just be understanding of like the vast spectrum of human emotions that people can feel. There's not supposed to be a box. It's just you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I was just going to touch on Shakuna's question because I already answered it. But
Sure.
my opinion, I, as a queer person, and I think other queer people feel the same way, it's very meaningful to be able to go onto the LGBTQ tag and click on a stream and know you're interacting with a fellow LGBTQ member. And it's like a gang, like another person that is in that with you. I think you can express allyship on your stream in other ways that aren't tagging yourself as an LGBTQIA streamer. I think that this is a very split way, and either way you decide to go on it, it doesn't bother me. But I think being able to go on that tag and know that those people are queer people is important. It's like, for me, recently I started reading romance novels. I read a romance novel at the beach and it was fucking trash. And I was like, you know what would be great? If I could read a romance novel written by an LGBTQ person about LGBTQ stuff. It's like saying I want to find an LGBTQ content creator and going there and not knowing if those people are LGBTQ. And it doesn't make you bad if you just want to show allyship. I just think there's ways you could put that in your rules. There's ways you could put that in your bio. There's other places that you can display allyship that aren't tagging yourself LGBTQIA. That's just my opinion as a queer person. You don't have to do that. I totally understand why there's such a split mind about it. I just think that's my opinion.
I would agree.
I wouldn't disingenuous. You totally come from a good place.
Right.
I think that there's better ways to
I think we can assume, like, I think one of the biggest things we can do is assume positive intent in all aspects of that, right?
Unless
and being
you're like tagging yourself to be hateful specifically.
Right. But I would agree. And like as somebody who, I mean, I'm a huge supporter of the community, but I don't use the tag out of like my own personal perception of how it should be used and all that, just like your opinion of how to use it. Would you recommend putting that in like your bio or like in somewhere in the info panels, or like what would you recommend for somebody who wants to show support?
I think that the easiest way you're going to be able to say maybe, is there not an ally tag? Is there not an ally tag on Twitch?
No.
Okay. Well, how about, first of all, we run to not stand. We go to Twitch and we ask for an ally tag. An ally tag would be great, but that means if you put an ally tag on it, that's why they haven't done it. Because if you put an ally tag on it, it means that Twitch isn't an ally. You know what I mean? It means that's probably why they haven't done it. It makes it seem like everybody else isn't an ally, which is not what they want their platform to seem like. But I think putting it like in your rules, you know how if you type in somebody's chat, you have to hit okay on their rules before you type in their chat.
Yeah.
That is where you're going to see it. That's the first place you're going to see it. Like that's a great place to put it, because you have to hit okay to see that. If you want to put, like, when I tag my stream, I do ! Social ! This. If it's that important to you that you're tagging it on your stream, put ! Ally, and then have info on that. And then it's still, if you search ally on the search tab, that still comes up. I don't know. It does suck that there's not an ally tag, but I think it's because Twitch assumes that you should all be allies, which is
that's a good assumption to me.
It's a great assumption that it's wishful thinking.
Right, wishful thinking. Agree.
Sad, especially on a gaming site.
Let's go.
Yeah, no homophobia, I think, though, is different than like being an ally, because like no homophobia means like don't be homophobic. Being an ally means you are actively trying to be super inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are there ways that outside of streaming and LGBTQ, like in your bio or chat rules, like that you can help the community, that you would recommend for anybody who is looking to help the LGBTQ plus community outside of streaming and stuff?
I know the ways. Well, yeah. First of all, just speaking up in general is nice. You know, when somebody says gay and just correcting them. When somebody says something and you're like, you shouldn't say that. If you're saying in your head, you shouldn't say that. It's easy for you to, I call it reframing somebody's words. I do it to my mom. I say, we can do better. My mom will use like things like the R word. And it's not because she feels my mom is the most positive, kind-hearted person, but it's like you start using a word and you don't know how to get out of it. It's just like a part of your vocabulary, like dude. And I know she doesn't mean it negatively. So I say, we are better than this and we can reframe our words. So I ask her to re-say the sentence with a different word. And it's like a child. Like that's
well, you're talking about we talk about it a lot on the talk show, but it's called a default mental pathway. It's this like way you've been doing something the same way and it's easy to go down. And so like that reframing, you're resetting the point of where it starts and creating a new groove.
Yeah. And I think because you're not a queer person, it is more influential because you can be like, when it comes from a queer person, they can look at you and say, you're just being sensitive. And they're going to say that to you, but you can just look at them and be like, no, you're just being better. There's a difference. And I think it does tend to mean more from an ally than it does from a gay person because it's so easy for straight people to just be like, nah, fuck them. They're just being sensitive.
Right.
But also, like, if you really want to be super involved, like every single community you live in, for the most part, in this day and age, has their own LGBT community. Like, and they have their own volunteer program. I volunteer with my local LGBT like group. Like, if you want to volunteer and help out, like, they'll put up flyers. They like need people to hand things out at their fundraising events. They need people to help. We run like a gay straight alliance, like things like that. It's just there are things that if you have spare time and you want to do that, besides just being a nice person in public and reframing people's minds, you can like go out and volunteer because those are groups that don't get lots of, be good to your kids, honestly. The best thing you can do. Be good to your kids. Read them books about different types of families. Be informed. And when people tell you that you're uninformed, try not to be defensive. Yeah, that's the worst.
Well, I think admitting you don't know is a really powerful thing too, right? Like a lot of that doesn't really happen often. It's a lot of like stubborn confidence without substance. And
I mean, even I do it. I do it with the dude thing. It's like it's hard when you're like, I'm right.
Yeah, it is hard.
People are like, you're wrong, and you're like, no. Yeah. Oh fuck.
Right.
But like going back on that is great.
Here, really quick, let's get back to the questions here.
Yes.
This is a really heavy one. So this one's, how many kids do you each want?
Oh, I want 4 kids, but I realistically don't think that that's going to happen. And I'm going to either run out of money or time or patience. So it's probably going to be 2, but I would ideally like to have a lot of children. I've always really wanted children. But even if it comes through, like, I know I want to give birth to at least 1 child, but I definitely, because my partner is adopted, or like, want to go through like adopting and fostering routes. What about you? Do you want children?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very strong relationship with my sister, especially because we grew up in a really tough household.
Are you guys close in age?
2 years difference, so yes.
Yeah.
She's a lot stronger than me though in a lot of ways, mostly because she had a strong relationship with my mother and I did not. So I mean, I mentioned this on the stream before, but like you, Glitter, Ashley, and there's a few other people that you may not know. I gravitate towards people who remind me of my sister. And it's something that I really hold dear. It's a strong like female representation, and there's like a duality for me there, because like I don't have a great relationship with my mom, but I have a great relationship with my sister. So like people are like intimidating or not, and I feel comfortable with them. And so like you and Glitter and Ashley and again like a few others you may not know, they're very close to me because I relate them to my family. And two kids, ideally like a boy and a girl, but 2 kids max if it's regardless.
I have a brother too, and we're 14 months apart, so we're like very similar.
Yeah.
I love siblings. I just want kids. I just want to hold them.
Yeah. I've always been like my wife calls me the children whisperer because like regardless of where we go.
Same.
Yeah.
Do they come up to you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember like one of the first times I ever had Bean's family. Her nephew, he was an infant, and we were at 4th of July, and I held him and just ended up putting him to sleep and just held him the whole night. He slept in my arms through fireworks. And everybody was like, you should have kids. And I was like, you don't know it yet, but I'm probably gonna have kids with your daughter standing over there, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
What's up? No, but I like just told kids, and they're like, okay, we're friends now, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I try to do that. Dude, it's really hard being in the family that I am in, because like it's the way I explain it is like I'm the only me and my sister are the only people who have gone to therapy and like understand how our emotions work for the most part. So like we're in households and in family gatherings where these people are just swimming through this shit and just being people, not realizing the negative effects they can have on their children. And so like I'm gonna be that cool uncle that is understanding and kind and and just like the emotional gap that isn't there. Like I've told this story before, but like because of this, like I am the first to break the chain of abuse in my family without them understanding that it's abuse. So like my Uncle George, my uncles and aunts, like they grew up in a family of 9 kids, and so like and it was an abusive household, so it was you have to be tough or you get left behind or abused or something. And so like my uncle was playing with his nephew and or grandpa, right, is I guess his would it be, not his nephew, is his daughter's kid. And he's playing with him, and then he's 3, right? And he keeps taking this toy away, and obviously he doesn't like that. And then eventually it turns into this like mine shouting match between my uncle and a 3-year-old, and everybody's just like awkwardly sitting there. And I was just like, and he starts to cry, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he looks at me like, my uncle like snaps out of it, you know. He looks at me and he's like, what? I'm trying to make him a tough man. I'm like, he's 3 years old. Like there's
toy back.
Yeah, he just wants his toy back. You do understand that like the implications, this moment right here could be a defining characteristic for how he views people. Like, do you want that relationship with your grandson or whatever? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? You know? And I was the only person in the whole fucking room. The whole room got super quiet, and like this moment happened, and then he walked away like all mad about it. And then he approached me later, and he was just like, I guess I didn't realize what I was doing, but you're kind of right about it. I'm like, I am right about it. You know, like
it's not kind of, it's completely
I am
correct.
right about it. And I was like, it's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to be, you know, a child. You know, you can't force a child to grow up. They have to go through those moments and experience things to become a better person. You can't force them into that.
They're gonna have like enough years of sadness and adulthood. Like, let them be a 3-year-old with a toy in their hands, please, for the love of God. Because we're all gonna have to go to therapy eventually.
Yeah,
mister. So
yeah, exactly. So it's I would encourage anybody in like that is in a household like that, if you can level-headedly speak up and break that chain of whatever dialogue or abuse or whatever things that are happening, like don't be afraid to do it. Just, I would say, don't go into it like blind. The only reason why I felt brave enough to do it was because I understood how I would have handled that situation in the same way. And the approach that I came with it is like, because I came from a household of abuse and so did they. I see the negative behaviors that they had. You know, like, and it's just simple to him, but it's a complex scenario. And it's like, dude, you're literally a fucking 6-year-old child. You don't even realize it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he hasn't matured enough to understand what the implications of that interaction could have. He just knows that this is what he went through when he was a child, and that's how he became tough, quote unquote. Right?
Yeah, that's what rubbed the dirt in his skin. Bye, Serby. Have a good night. Bye. See you later.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, yeah, more questions. So, Puppin Blut, Luxie, have you had to go through the experience of having to, in a sense, convince someone that you are not straight because your outward look does not scream gay? If you have gone through that, how did you respond?
I think obviously I respond normally, aggressively to everything. If I can tell people are just being douchebags about it, I'm just like not here for it. It's 1,000%. Actually, I talked about it the other day. It's like one of those things where people come up to me and they're like, nah, I can make you straight, or like, you're not really gay. You can't be gay. You haven't had this dick. I'll put this dick inside you. Great. I don't know. Honestly, I probably don't handle it the way I should. Most of the way I handle things is like either through being super aggressive or through being like aggressive and making a joke out of them so that they feel bad. And when they feel ashamed, then they're like, oh, I have to think about what I just did, which is probably not fixing it.
It's good content though.
I don't know. I think probably the best way to go about it, I look so straight and I'm so femme. Like I'm a lipstick lesbian if I was lesbian. I'm a lipstick gay, which means like I look as straight as humanly possible. Like I'm in heels and a skirt and I'm wearing a bra. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things where if you are trying to be nice, being like, I am gay, and they're like, no, you're not, you don't look gay, and being like, I understand you don't think that I'm gay. But regardless of what you think, I will still exist. And just being like, sorry. God, she's so femme. I don't know. Just being, it doesn't matter. What they think doesn't matter at the end of the day, which I think is what's important to me, unless they're like in your life and they're your family members. That's a whole different route. But if they're strangers, it's just like one of those things where you just gotta be like, fuck you. Like, I don't care. If you don't understand who I am, don't mean enough to me to be a valuable or integral part of my life. So.
Well, you're not even willing to like go beyond the threshold of taking things at face value. So why invest the time right then and there? So it makes sense.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. All right, we got one more question, and this is from Bean. Tell me about the time you fell.
Jesus Christ. Listen, first of all, I fall all the time. I'm very clumsy. I don't know why you want to hear the story so bad. Listen, Bean took me on a date to Disney World because we both worked there. And she took me on this Buzz Lightyear ride. And to get on the ride and to get off the ride, you have to stand on what they call a moving platform. It's an escalator, basically, but it's flat. Okay, guys? I don't know if you don't know what that is.
It's like the thing you see in airports, right?
Yeah, like an airport strip. You get on the ride. I got on the ride. It was normal. I got off the ride. I ate shit. I fell. I skinned my knee. Okay? It was like the second time I've ever seen this girl in my entire life. And I just ate shit in front of her and all of her friends. And I had to get back up and I had to laugh and pretend like nothing had happened. Okay? And that's the whole story. I literally fell for her dates. And I don't need you to make fun of me for it any longer.
She was there, and then she wasn't. And then I turned around, and she was on the ground. Not only does Bean have intricate stories to be told, but she's got bars.
She's spitting that sick poetry. She was there, and then she wasn't.
And I turned around, and she was on the ground.
Please write it in a song. Make it a song.
What are your thoughts about actors who are straight playing LGBTQ characters? It seems lately there's a growing pressure for people to actually be LGBTQ plus to write or act, even talk about it.
I think, okay.
Would you argue that it's representation, like accurate representation?
I think that because these people have been excluded from your platform for so long, it would just do you a little bit of a service for this time being to show people to be represented. Like it is, I don't think for the rest of your life, forever and always, that people will have to be gay to play those roles. I do think that we're at an integral time of our life where we have the platform to let those people be queer actors and to let those stories. Listen, here's why people want those stories be written by actual queer people, because you don't know, you've never had gay sex. Stop writing gay sex if you've never had gay sex. Please stop writing scissoring into your books. Please don't write in your dumb fucking lesbian movie that during an intimate moment between two wholesome Jewish women, one of them spits in the other one's mouth. I don't know where you get this shit, but please stick it back in your Pornhub and leave it there. It's disgusting. I don't understand. I hate it. It makes me so fiery. But like, it's just a thing. Queer people just want to see it. They have seen themselves be written poorly. If it's like watching your woman and you watch yourself be written poorly. You watch yourself be weak and insignificant, and you just do whatever the male character tells you to do, and you have 4 lines. It's like wanting female writers. It's the same thing. You want the representation. You want people to write you accurately. That's all these people are asking for. You are at a time and a place where you can give these people the ability, especially trans people, which you refuse to give representation to. Not even lesbian and bi men, which exist in film. Much more than trans people do. You just fucking put them in the films. It's not that goddamn. There's so many of them. Just put them in the films. Stop putting Scarlett Johansson in places she doesn't belong. Like that 60-year-old woman's asshole, please. Stop putting her places. Don't do it. It's dumb.
Sweet.
Seeing porn with both women with long nails. It's exactly that. It's just, if you haven't experienced it, most likely you are feeding,
That fucking emote, dude.
It's not Avery's emote. It looks like, yeah, it is. It's just, if you just imagine what you're doing when you write a poorly written queer character or a poorly written queer narrative or an offensive storyline, and then you literally wrap it up like a fucking In-N-Out burger and you shove it into the mouths of America, and they think that's what gay people are like. Like, we're trying to prevent that from happening. We're trying to just get accurate representation from queer characters written by queer people so that you go into the world better fed. We're giving you Whole Foods instead of In-N-Out. That's all we want. We want you to be better nourished. We're trying to nourish you with knowledge. I think that's just all people are asking for. I don't think that it's going to be forever. And I just think it's a thing that is happening now, both with not only LGBTQ people, but with races, because it's a thing that has just been so poorly done for so fucking long that we are just like, maybe step back and give other people a shot to do things that they should be doing.
Right.
That's all. Stop eating the fucking Pop Rocks. Take your dumbass Pop Rocks and put in
change your candy.
Eat a cow tail. I don't fucking know. Put a peppermint in your mouth.
Yeah, change it up.
Switch it up.
Hashtag stop scissoring. Wait, did you add stop scissoring? Is there somebody in here called stop scissoring?
No. I was saying there's like a film that just came out about I think they're Hasidic. I could be wrong, but it's a Jewish couple, and it's a lesbian story, and they're like I hit the wrong one. At stop scissoring. No. Changing my fucking Twitch name. That's incredible. It's about a like really religious Jewish couple, and then they have this, like, finally after a long time they have like an intimate sex scene, and like I was watching it and it was fine and it was good. It was like a wholesome sex scene, and then all of a sudden one of them like hocked a loogie into the other one's mouth, and I was like, first of all, no. Like, yeah, 1,000% that's happening in somebody's sex life, but it's not the Hasidic Jewish couple's sex life.
Most likely not.
The people that don't watch porn aren't spitting into each other's mouths organically. Okay, that's the thing you got from pornography. It's stupid.
Right.
That's why. Okay, it's Disobedience. That's the film. Don't watch it. I don't know. Maybe watch it. It has some badass women in it, but it was bad.
So,
anyways.
So in Scarlett Johansson's case, she should never play one then. She also get flack for Ghost in the Shell when that happened, though. If one watched the story, her race didn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. The Ghost in the Shell thing is hard because I think it's hard because with Ghost in a Shell, first of all, I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but I do know that the way we view representation is, there's a different argument, because we view representation as a much more important thing because we have a very diverse country, versus people are like, well, the Japanese people don't care, but Japanese people don't have as diverse a country, so they're not fighting for representation as hard as we are. So it's very difficult to compare how Japanese culture feels versus how American culture feels, because they're going through very different scenarios. I went to Asia. Do you know what people did? They took pictures of me like a monkey in a zoo because they've never seen a white blonde girl. They don't see a white blonde on the metro all the time. That's a very different thing for them to see. They, I'm assuming, do things like that. I know that they do things like take pictures with African American people when they visit in Japan. So it's, representation isn't a thing that they have to have yet. So it's I don't think comparing those two, that's the only argument I see, is people will be like, well, Japanese people didn't care, but I just think you can't compare those two. I don't know enough about Ghost in the Shell to argue about it, but I do think Scarlett Johansson says some dumb shit all the time and plays roles she shouldn't and argues about it. And I really wish she would keep her mouth shut, but not because her voice is so raspy and sexual. And I really just wish she was a good person. I really just wish you were a better person, Scarjo. You really let me down.
I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just inexperience, man. Like, it's you're tossed into these things, and so, like, as an actress, like, it's an art form.
Ooh.
I don't know anything about it. Yeah,
don't. Probably best if you stay out of it.
Okay.
It's not good. It's gonna hurt your feelings.
I trust you. On the topic of movies, by chance, have you seen the Kevin Smith movie Chasing Amy?
No.
I haven't even. No.
Nope, don't know what that is.
Thank you for the raid, Bane. Welcome in, everybody. You're catching the questions portion of the talk show before we, like, finish up and wrap up. Any other questions for Luxie, myself, about the show, anything like that?
Yeah, feel free. Also, hi.
Yeah. While we're waiting, why are you so cute? Me? Wait, was that for me? Wait.
Who is this? Who did it?
Bean.
Oh yeah, it was for you. Yeah, at Konky.
What? Cute.
Why are you so...
I don't.
My typing is horrible. My typing's horrible all the time. It's okay.
Honestly,
yes, for you.
Honestly, like this whole the internet thing, I don't know. It's I have a hard time accepting compliments because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard for me. Like I don't want to. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
You did so good. Everybody positively You don't want to internet date me? I'm sure it would go really well.
It's about a queer woman who ends up falling for a straight man but is ostracized by her community for doing so. It's very well done. Oh. Interesting. Wait. So she's bi? Wait, it's a queer woman who ends up falling for a straight man.
I don't know. I think that, like, it's frustrating.
Interesting.
You know what sucks? You know what sucks is how many movies there are people falling in love with men and not about queer people having happy endings with gay people. That sucks.
I like that face. That's
not my favorite
thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll look into it. There's like another movie that came out and it's like about fucking a like older married lesbian couple with children, and like one of them like cheats on their wife with a fucking gardener who's a man, and I was like, can we just not tell these And then they're like, oh, it's okay, we got back together. And I was like, sure, I'm sure this was probably accurately like a queer family's actual story. I'm sure it was. But could we maybe thoughtfully put more positive, not hetero baiting stories into the news, maybe?
I think a lot of it too is like all of this is new, you know. Social media and the internet's only been around for 12 years, and that's where most of the progress for like every community that's been trying to like represent themselves has started to come from, because now we have a place where we can connect and understand and communicate with each other very openly, and we're very unique. And I think it's very easy to forget that shit, that like literally half a grandpa ago, like there was some terrible fucking shit happening.
Half a grandpa ago.
Right? I mean, I'm just saying.
That's shit I've ever heard.
Dude, 50, half a grandpa, it's like 50, 40 years. Like there's some fucked up shit happening not that far long ago.
Half a grandpa. Also, Phasmatic, I'm really sorry. It's not my actual noise gate. It's just Discord. Discord's a real big butt cheek about noise gates after a while. I don't know why.
Yeah.
God, half a grandpa ago is the best term I've ever heard.
Oh, Chasing Amy you're talking about. Wait, was that what the movie was called?
Yeah,
when you said
it's called Chasing Amy.
Okay. M2M was talking about it, right? I think.
Yeah, I think there's a few people that were talking about
Black Metal Fang, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not so much that I say, ew, no cute, like, I'm not cute. Like, the ego part is very easy to feed into, and, like, I don't want to be that fucking person out of context where somebody's coming in, I'm like, oh, thank you for calling me cute. You know, like, I don't want to fucking do that, but that's how I feel inside. I want you to know that. So
I feel like that inside, but I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, if I show you it means I'm a bitch. That's like the conundrum that I have sometimes, and it's.
You're not though. You're allowed to be cute.
Yeah, I'm allowed to be cute. You hear me? I'm not afraid anymore. Sorry.
You know when Rudolph gets complimented by the female reindeer, and he goes, "She thinks I'm cute."
Yeah.
That's you.
That's me. Yeah.
The nasally voice.
Yeah. I feel like in every queer relationship on TV, there's always one established lesbian, then the other one is like in some unhappy relationship with a man and then realizes she's gay because her boyfriend sucks.
Yeah, it's either that or they've like been dating for a while in a relationship, and one of them, I'm bored and I want a dick, and you're like, oh, please stop. Nobody ever stopped and thought that in a gay relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's so mean.
Luxie,
sure
so you believe in the moon landing? Follow up, are you a flat earther?
I am not a flat earther, and I do believe in the moon.
Oh, Kirsten, thank you so much for the raid.
He's conking my dong. I fucking hate you.
I'm sorry. That needs to be updated. I haven't updated it yet.
No, it's good. It's really fun.
You conking my dong right now with 11 hugs? Oh! Welcome in, everybody. Hello. Oh my gosh.
He likes my sport.
But are you a member of the Flat Mars Society? No, even the Flat Earth Society thinks Mars is round, which is dumb fucking founding to me.
What?
Yes. They're like, Mars is round because we've observed it to be round. I'm like, how do you do this? How do you do this?
Give me your scientific anger.
Oh, God, just stop. Like, literally, just fucking go to school or... you know what we need to do? Can we just, like, fund a GoFundMe for everybody in the Flat Earth Society to get taken by a fucking SpaceX rocket ship outside into the outer rim and just...
drop them off in space?
No, I just want them to have a magic school bus ride.
I want to leave them there. I want to leave them in space. Make them float around the whole Earth.
God damn it.
And then when they come back, they'll be like, I know it's round. I was there for years.
Yeah. Girl, that's a booty hole. That's all I think of is that fucking meme from, how am I feeling post shingles? I swear to God.
Fuck.
Okay, so the fact that you and me are having this conversation right now and I'm comfortable is insane because I was literally quarantined for 2 weeks and I didn't talk to anybody really except for online. And I want to thank not only you for talking to me when I was like, I was super emotionally, when you're physically vulnerable, like emotionally vulnerable, it's the worst. And like for
I have spent 2 weeks with a stomach flu and I couldn't leave my house and I couldn't walk and I just felt like I felt like a gremlin.
Yeah. So for me, I was fine except for the nerve pain, right? But like I can't describe the nerve pain is insane.
Crazy.
Like it was
is
just
it like somebody stabbing at a nerve with a needle or something?
Well, that's what I would
or is it like lightning, like nerve lightning?
It's like, well, that's how it comes. There's like shocking parts that happen, but the way I would describe it is it's so deep in your skin. I can only describe it as like burning needle shock that I've never felt that pain in my entire life. And I was super grateful for my body. Like now that I've had this experience and I've had friends who, like I've got a friend, one hand FPS. He was in a terrible motorcycle accident and he takes medication on a regular basis because of that sort of nerve pain that he deals with.
Oh God.
And so like, this is my first time, like an internal blowtorch. Exactly. Except it doesn't get to the point where you don't feel anything. It just hurts. And so, I was probably 2 days out. If I didn't go to the doctor, I probably would have ended up in the hospital. And it was, during that time, like, I'm glad, I mean, I know it sucks, but I'm glad that it happened in a time where I had my friends online and could play with people with video games and like have, even if it wasn't face to face, it was just like a human interaction.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah, because it was really tough. And God bless my wife. She loves and cared for me the whole time. She like ordered stuff for me. She like helped me dress my wounds and like all of that stuff. It was like really tough for me because like I'm never, again, like the whole conundrum of me growing up the way I did.
Have you ever been like super sick while you were dating her?
No.
So was it a good bonding experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, just asking the real questions.
No,
just wanted to know if it brought you closer.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've had some really, I don't know how to explain. That was a really good bonding moment. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, now that I think about it, my shingle's really creeping us a little closer.
Yeah.
You could say put a shingle on our roof.
Yeah, I mean, like, I couldn't do anything about it, too, and, like, I take...
Are you gonna ignore my shingle?
Shut up. Shingle on a roof, yes. And the roof in the house is being built...
your house of love.
Yes. God damn. Yeah, she does crack herself up. You're right, Bean. But yeah, it was a really, I don't know. It wasn't even like a woe is me. And it kind of was a test. I always consider these like not a test, but like it's always a perspective building exercise, right? Because I couldn't do anything about it. And it's shingles is a condition where like it's completely out of your control. You could be the healthiest fucking person in the world, but it could happen at any time. And goddamn, I mean, like I'm a pretty active person. I don't mean to brag, but like I fucking take care of myself. I have a lot of weird weights and shit that I work out with because I don't want to be
like just dead bodies behind you that you pick up.
Well, I have a kettlebell that's got a monkey head on it. You know, like I have.
That's cool. I can't imagine why.
Why you know the story, and and yeah, I just like I always consider this was honestly like it was a precautionary thing because my family is riddled with heart disease and they don't take care of themselves because they don't understand nutrition and all that shit. So like again, like another break in the chain of that was me being physically active and also educating my immediate family as to how to eat and what to look for and all that. And then and then being physically active and then being put in a state where I couldn't do that, and I also was like emotional baby, you know, like as a grown ass man, it was fucking tough. And
and it's hard to like rely on people too. That's what I find like the hardest when you're sick is like to just be like, I can't do it alone.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, you know,
no
pants. No pants. I'm like, I need to hold my shirt. Can you help me put calamine lotion on my butt? Like, you know, like it was just.
Spread your ass and she took a photo of your
No, that did not happen. Okay.
You know the clip of Glitter saying, no beehole, no beehole
no
on my
beehole.
street.
Yes. Yes, it
Apple store. No beehole. No beehole in my store.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Wait, who has 40 shake weights?
What? Yeah, you have 40 shake weights.
Oh, that'd be hilarious if I just like started them all up in like the apartment or the complex that I'm in, like fucking everything like between like 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. Everybody's shaking. They don't know fucking what's happening. That's actually a really good gag. Yeah.
They probably would think they're dying. Don't you? Oh, no, you don't. I was about to say, do you live in Cali? No.
No.
That would be a bad joke for Cali. You can't do that.
It would be, yeah. You gotta pay extra for that. Oh God.
Extra for the beehole.
Hot shingles in your area looking to get nailed.
That's horrible.
Oh God.
Oh no, Blaine. I hope you're okay. Also, you just got married. Congrats. I'm not stalking your life or anything. I have the wedding video if you want to see it, Bean. Actually, I can get it again because I don't know if people have it, but it's very cute. And him and his wife are very cute together.
I'm so giggly when I walk. I have 300 pounds of shaking weight.
Oh my God.
Marriage, pew.
Oh, it was like someone shook me awake.
Oh, in California?
I can't even imagine.
Neither can I, yeah. I don't have that experience at all. Like, I've never had that.
We just flood here. Floods and hurricanes.
Flood and humidity and hurricanes, yeah.
Pain, sadness, homophobia.
Oh my gosh. I don't have anything more to add. Do you have any questions for me or anything? No?
No. I've done it. I've exhausted it.
Welcome to the Cataclysm, everyone. Please follow Luxie on Twitter and Twitch. You'll fucking she's made my life better. You really have. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I don't want you don't need to cry, but like but you really have, and you're not the only one. Like I'm not the only one. Sorry. I'm sure a lot of people in this chat will agree with that. Like, you guys have done a really good job of, you have done a really good job of like representing yourself and being honest and authentic and engaging with people as best as you can. And thank you for streaming, and thank you for making content that not only like helps the LGBTQ plus community, but also helps people like me who are not in the community, but a supporter of which like feel comfortable in their own skin. And it's really, it's just awesome. So thank you.
Aw, thanks. What the fuck? I didn't come here to be complimented.
I know. Neither did I.
Thanks though for feeling that way, because that's great, and I'm glad that you feel that way. 69 viewers. Jesus Christ, you guys.
Keep it there. And if anybody else gets in here, bam!
Hit him with a kettleball.
Yeah.
God damn it, Konky, why are you so eloquent? I know, right? I'm like, anyways, thank you so much. And it was good. Have you had any dumbass pop rocks lately?
All the time.
No, but I don't know. Being able to be like in a position where anybody feels like they want to listen to me or watch me, or that even thinks I'm funny. People come to my stream now and they're like, I saw you on Twitter and I think you're funny, or I saw you on Twitter and you and your relationship are so meaningful to me. Like, that like people don't understand, and I say it every time they say it, but like it really is insane and like really does like mean so much to me, and I like really appreciative, and I just am thankful. And also, if I do something stupid, please hold me accountable because I don't ever want somebody to be like, I like her so much, she's doing everything right. But thank you. It really is great, and I really appreciate it. Yeah. I'm funny, but I'm not that funny. That's right. Thanks for reminding me. But I think I'm funny, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. All right. I would. So while we're wrapping up, do you want to do me a favor and jump on like your following list and pick somebody for us to raid?
Oh hell yeah!
Cool. So you guys got a awesome dose of the XP Talk Show. Just as you guys, or what you guys should know too, we do this show every week. Next week we've got Post Cubicle Kyle on Friday. I'm very excited about that too, because I've only known him through Twitter, and he's always such a really nice dude.
Kyle's great.
Kyle's great. So that's next Friday. As far as the stream goes, are you streaming tomorrow, Luxie?
I am.
What time do you start?
I stream 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are currently working our way through Breath of the Wild, a blind playthrough, which is, if you've never experienced it, quite an experience.
Very much an experience, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the whole like you stumbling into Ganon's castle and fighting him the first time was awesome. I
need to go
wait, is this a boss fight?
I just want to go back and clip the whole experience because
you should highlight it. Yeah, like honestly, those were some of my favorite moments because like I did the same thing where I was just like exploring the castle. I'm like, wait, what are we doing now?
I just really wanted the fucking cookbooks, and then I was just like, oh no, oh god, nope. Yep. Okay, well we're fighting Ganon now.
End of the game now. Yep.
That's what I wanted. Well, and then I found out, I don't know if you were there, but there's no end game.
Like, yeah. Post game. Yeah,
that fucking sucked. That sucked. I described it as edging with no finishing, and I'm really upset about it.
Yeah, really that's a good description for sure.
Yeah, so if you want to experience me constantly edging it for a while,
that's a highlight.
I'm live till PM to 8 p.m.
Kirsten, thank you so much for bringing everybody in. Love you too. Have a great rest of your night.
Also, I gave you a name. It's in the Discord.
Oh, sounds good. Okay. Yeah. So just to wrap up, guys, thank you guys for all the follows. Seriously, like everybody coming in, engaging in conversation, especially like the whole reason why I do this show is because I like sharing experiences and having people engage in conversation, because there isn't much of that happening on Twitch. A lot of it is just like reaction or playing games and like having conversation in between, and very rarely is there like a focus on getting to know somebody and having them share the experience and like everybody walking away with something, like they had learned something or understood a perspective. So if you want to catch the show and you haven't followed yet, feel free to give us a follow. As far as like the charity stuff goes too, just to address it again for anybody who's subbed or through bits, when we get our Twitch payout, you'll see me post on Twitter how much we were paid and how much is donated to Maps. We always donate half or more of the Twitch earnings to Maps. It's a cause that I'm really for. If you have any questions about it, !PTSD. Those are all the links there. Last year we raised $2,000 thanks to all you guys. That was amazing. So looking to do 3,000 this year. More news on like charity weekend and all that stuff. Again, you can catch Luxie on Twitter and Twitch starting tomorrow. She'll be live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, Luxie, this probably won't be our last conversation, so I look forward to seeing you sometime tomorrow.
Hang out at TwitchCon.
Yeah. Anything you want to see? Good time. Yeah, I'm glad you did too. Thanks for.
If you're here for me and you're not following Konky already, please, such a good person. Thanks.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before we pass it off?
Oh no, we're just reading Bree, who's an angel of a human being. So, please be nice to them, or else. Basically, that's it. Also, I cherish you, and I hope you have a good day and be nice to people. That's all.
Sounds good. All right, raid. Boop, 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 boop. Let me put this in.
Boop, 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 boop.
Less than Bree.